Hello, I'm Jason from StrataGames. Today we're playing some more Pauper. Truth be told, I have not played Pauper in a couple of weeks, pretty much since the holidays. So I decided to just jump into it with a deck that I haven't played for a while either. This is Dimir Fae, a deck that a lot of people were saying started to fall off after Modern Horizons 3 because of Chrysalis, Nyxborn Hydra, and Sneaky Snacker all being really good blockers against the deck. And that may be true, but I also then saw probably 1 to 2 months ago Barf and a lot of other grinders and whatnot putting up some pretty good numbers with a pretty classic Dimir Fae list. There were some lists that were running, there were just, I think, Dimir Control running Sneaky Snacker and some things like that, Terrors potentially. But I've seen some more classic lists that were doing well a little while ago, and I always really like this deck, so this is one that I'm just going to give a try. And a couple of weeks ago on my last Fae video, actually, Mono Blue Fae, I asked if people would prefer the more recap videos that are shorter, more like an hour and a half, or if they would prefer more play-by-play videos where there's a little bit more dead air that I'm talking through, but also they tend to run a little bit longer, maybe 2 hours. And overwhelmingly, people said they wanted the play-by-play, so I'm going to try to give you that as much as possible. I can't promise always being able to fulfill that. It's a lot easier to bank videos that I do a recap of later because I can play those games and just be sitting around not having to focus on talking. But in any case, let's try to do this. So this is a Fae deck. We are, of course, running 4 Spellstutter and 3 Faeries here. We don't need the full. Every time I try to say full 4, I always say 4 full. Anyway, we don't need 4 of the Fairy Seer. Those are our Fae, but then of course we have some ninjas, Ninja of the Deep Hours, that we can bounce those Fae with to get their ETBs twice, and also to get some card advantage from the ninja. We also have the Augurs of Bolas, who usually in any deck I play try to screw me over as much as possible. We'll hope that that does not happen tonight. And then we have a couple Thorn of the Black Rose. We are a control deck, unlike the Mono Blue Fae, which is much more a tempo deck, kill you as fast as possible. We are a straight up control deck with just some tempo elements like aggressive creatures and things like that. But most of our removal is not tempo, which is like bounce spells and things like that that temporarily get rid of them and they'll come back. It's more hard removals like snuff outs, cast downs, extract a confession to get bogles or anything like that. Agony Warp, which can get Guild of the Gate Pact. What's that guy called? Guardian of the Guild Pact. And also can just, help against mono red, killing the power of 2 creatures and killing one of them permanently. Lorien Revealed is I don't know if you've heard of it. It's a pretty good draw spell. We have one of Gurmag Angler. Dispel is a nice little counterspell. Of course, we have 4 counterspells as well, and the Spellstutter helps to do that as well. And then our cantrips, we have 3 Brainstorm and 3 Preordain. So that's pretty much the deck. Oh, we do also have a Murmuring Mystic, which can be really good way to win the game in the late game. Slam it down and then cast a bunch of counterspells and cantrips. We have a bunch of islands, swamp, a seething landscape, contaminated aquifer, which can be found with our Lorien Revealed. I personally just like a couple dismal backwaters because if I already have 2 black sources, I can't imagine needing a third one with my Lorien, so I might as well gain a life off of those extra blue-black sources. That's just me personally. And we have a Bajuka Bog, which is nice as well. For the sideboard, haven't updated this in a while, obviously, so hopefully it'll be okay for the meta, but it's pretty generic. Annuls for your Glees and your Affinity. 5 Blue Elemental Blast effects against your reds. Dispel against red, Affinity, anything that casts instants, which is most of the decks. A couple Relics of Progenitus for Dredge or any other graveyard decks. Extract a Confession, another one for Bogles. Suffocating Fumes, and Arms of Hadar for go-wide decks, mostly being mono red, mono white, or any other mono-color deck that wants to have a lot of little creatures. So anyway, let's jump right into the games, and we'll see how we do. All right, this hand looks interesting. Only 1 land, but we have a lot of draw and dig potential with the Fairy Seer and the Preordain, and we are on the draw, so we're definitely going to keep this one. Have to find a black source and just a second land in general, but we can look. What is this? 5 cards deep plus our 2 cards for the turn. So if we don't get a land in the top 7 cards, we're going to miss a land drop. Otherwise, we should be okay. Opponent, Idyllic Grange. So it looks like mono white weenies. One of my favorite decks, honestly. So we'll see how this goes. Contaminated Aquifer, we're keeping that, and a Preordain. So next turn, we're going to go Aquifer, Preordain, but we already have one in hand, so I actually don't think we need the one here. I think I'd rather just find another land or interaction of some sort. Although we already have a lot of kill spells, so I don't know if we need more of those, but obviously counter spells wouldn't be bad. There's a Rafine's Informant right there. Gonna pitch something. They discard a Battle Screech, so got to keep that in mind. They have a 3/2, which means we're not blocking here. Let's just Preordain. Counterspell Fairies here. I don't think we need another Fairies here. I don't know if we need a counterspell. Obviously, we want to hit another land. We have a lot of removal right now, so I think we're bottoming both of these, just trying to hit our land drops. We are a control deck, so we really do want to hit them. Augur's not terrible. We're not blocking with this, so we might as well attack. We do have a Snuff Out, which we're probably going to use on this Informant. We're going to take 3 damage off of it anyway, so we might as well just pay the extra 1 life right away and kill it. Of course, I was also waiting because if they had like a 1-drop and a 3-drop, or excuse me, a 1-drop and a 2-drop, maybe they would try to hold the Rafine's Informant back to go for the Battle Screech, and I could kind of trick them into making the wrong play. They didn't fall for that, and so I think I'm just going to go for it. It's also possible they just have 3 1-drops, which would be brutal, because if they go 3 Inspectors here and then Battle Screech, that's going to be very painful. Instead, though, they just have a Militia Bugler. I'm a Bugler hater. Let's see if they want to prove me wrong with a good flip off of this. Not wrong for hating it, because nothing could be so right, but they did find a Lunarch Veteran, and we found our land off the top. That is beautiful, actually, since we weren't finding it with this Augur. So I might as well attack. I'm not getting a Ninja this turn either way, and I'm not blocking, so might as well hit for another 1. Question is, do we Augur or do we Spellstutter here? Augur blocks, so I think we kind of want to go with the Augur. I could also Cast Down. The longer I keep their board clear of these guys, the longer I don't have to fear the Battle Screech. So I kind of don't hate that either. Spellstutter's probably going to eat like a Veteran or like a 2-drop though, which I don't dislike either. We're gonna play this land, and I think we're gonna pass. This way we have Cast Down if we really want it, so we still could cast down the Militia Bugler. But I also have the Spellstutter. Smartly, they're gonna go for the attack first, so I have to decide if I want to take 2 or cast it down now. I think we'll just take the 2. I want them to fear the Spellstutter a little bit, and if they pass here, we'll cast it down, and not a big deal for us. They're going to definitely try to bait out the Spellstutter with the more expendable cards first, I would guess. Oh, then again, they just have a Battle Screech. So I can't Spellstutter that. I can't Dispel it, because it's a sorcery. Both unfortunate, but we do get to cast this down still. Obviously, we took the 2 from it, which is a little annoying, but by casting it down, we prevent them from Battle Screeching again, the flashback, and getting 2 more birds. So I think it's worth it, even though it is a little annoying here. And now our Fairies here can't really attack. I could hold up Spellstutter, which can maybe take like a Lunarch Veteran off the stack, but then they just flash it back, and that doesn't do too much for us. So I think maybe we just go for an Augur here, and then hold up a Counterspell. Well, not a Counterspell, because we won't have double. Hold up a Dispel. I could also just hold up a Counterspell. / Spellstutter / Cast Down for if they go for a Battle Screech. That might be better. Because if they get 2 more birds now, it's pretty bad. So I think I convinced myself to do that. Just holding off the birds as long as possible is kind of what I want. I don't have a great way to clear them in the main deck, but we do have those Arms of Hadar and Suffocating Fumes in the side. I guess an Agony Warp, if they attack with 2 birds, would be decent, because I can block 1. So they do go for the Lunarch. Is that worth countering with the Spellstutter? I don't think so. I think we just let that go. And then if they flash back the Battle Screech, we'll counter that, I think. Of course, it leaves them open to play something else. But I think we want to keep those birds away. Dispel's not great in this matchup. The only thing it has to hit, yeah, if they had another Battle Screech, that's fine. I mean, they gain some life and they make 2 birds, but they can't flash it back as well. So, there's an Agony Warp. Not doing a lot of work here, though. They can now double Battle Screech, and I really can't do anything about it. Even if I cast down, it doesn't do anything. So, I think we're just going to Augur of Bolas, try to find something. We found a Brainstorm. I think we're going to take that. Well, we're obviously going to take it. It's the only spell. I think we're going to play that now, though, to try to find... I don't care what order these go in. To try to find our land drop. Because if we hit a tapped land or something, we really want it. We got our islands. So... the spell's just not doing us any good, is it? I guess it's the only thing we can hold up now. The only thing they run at instant speed is a Thraben Charm or Guardian's Pledge. I guess it could be okay for a Guardian's Pledge. So let's put it back like that. And I guess we're passing. White Weenie, probably not the easiest matchup for us because they just have a good amount of flyers in general. The triple Battle Screech draw in the top 14 cards is not helping us at all. Not doing us any favors. So they swing at the birds. We're going to block with the Fairy Seer, I think. Then again, if they leave a bird back, they're worried about a ninja. Which kind of tells me they don't have a Guardian's Pledge here, because otherwise I think they'd want to get the full damage. But I can't really afford to just take it every turn. I'm going to draw back an Agony Warp here. Which would mean that I could block next turn with this. So maybe I do just take it this turn. They also didn't attack with a Veteran, and obviously if they have a Guardian's Pledge, they probably would have swung with that as well. Unless they are expecting a Dispel, but I don't really expect them to expect it. They flash back the Battle Screech. Wish we had a Suffocating Fumes main deck. But we got the Agony Warp, and we just got to pass. Just got our couple of blockers. We didn't have a terrible opening hand. I think we really just did not have a good hand for their draw. When they drew 3 spells that made 4 1/1s, and all of our hand was single target removal. Not really a great way to get around that. And we didn't get the counter spells too late, but also like Battle Screech is broken up into 2 bits, so it's really hard to get around. They're swinging with everything. I am expecting a Guardian's Pledge here. We have a Dispel for that. Oh, they're just going for Prismatic Strands. Okay. Well, I can Dispel that as well. Let me start with an Agony Warp to shrink this, kill this, to keep our Fairy Seer alive and to kill off a bird. See if they got a Thraben Charm or anything they want to throw out. It's the only thing they could have, since they only have 2 mana. So that goes through. I'm not going to lose either of these. By countering this, I do get to kill both of them, though. So I guess that's probably still worth it. So let's go for it. We got to pick off these guys at some point. Might as well try to take 2 of them out now with this Dispel. And when they also don't have a creature to flashback the Prismatic Strands. And then they go for a Luminous Phantom, which we're going to be able to Spellstutter. So, not a terrible turn for us. We're still behind, and of course we knew we were getting a cast down here. Not altogether terrible, though. So if we pass, and they go for another big bird attack, and with like Prismatic Strands, and we're able to Spellstutter the Strands, they don't have a backup, that could be okay if we're able to eat a couple birds. I guess it would be a trade, not even an eat. So not amazing, but that's the way that we maybe survive here. They have another plains, so let's see if they have any eagles. Should be pretty bad for us. They have the Battle Screech from the grave. Spellstutter can't quite get that, since this merfolk hasn't yet taken up wings. And they are going to swing at the birds. Little annoying, because if I block, my Spellstutter becomes pretty bad in hand. But I think we got to. I could also cast one of them down, but I think while we have the opportunity, we just do this. And if they have, or if they like flashback to Prismatic Strands, then we'll Spellstutter. Yep. And if they have the Thraben Charm, we're pretty toast, but kind of toast either way here. Because this is just trying to make it so these trade, not even so that I like eat them like last time. Ooh, and they do have that Thraben Charm. Alright, we're going to go ahead and concede. I guess we could see. I'm pretty sure we do not have a Suffocating Fumes in the main deck. Garmag Angler, nice. Yeah, we'll go ahead and concede there. Alright. So they had a really good draw. We do get some nice sideboard cards here. I don't know if relics are really worth it. Take out the Dispel, because I don't really like that here. Cast downs are not great. Extract is not very good at all. Maybe relics are better than snuff outs. We just have so much single target removal. Obviously, we'd prefer the big wipes. And relic cycles, of course, it's a little bit of mana. But if relic can eat a Prismatic Strands or something, it could be pretty good. So let's give that a try. We're on the play this time. We have the Arms of Hadar. Lands with these Lorians and a Gurmag Angler. I think this is fine. I think we're going to Island Preordain first. Next turn, ooh. Fairy Seer and Relic. So next turn I can Lorien cycle for a Island and Fairy Seer. So do I want this Relic? Because I could draw that too. Honestly, with the Arms of Hadar, I kind of don't hate keeping the Relic, because I already have a board wipe. Sure. I already have a board wipe, so that means one of the ways that they can get a lot of advantage is from the graveyard, right? With Prismatic Strands, Battle Screech, and the one guy. Not that guy, the other one drop. The Lunarch Veteran. So I think this is not bad. Of course, we're going to cycle one of these Lorians for a Contaminated Aquifer. But we'll do that next turn. We don't need the black yet. And I'd prefer to get down to Fairy Seer in case we draw a Ninja and just also set things up. Oh, and there's our black source. So Brainstorm. We already have one. Plus a Lorien. So next turn we're going... what? Dismal Backwater. Relic. Brainstorm. And then upkeep Lorien. Maybe. I could Brainstorm again then. I kind of don't hate the Brainstorm. Only drawing one of these though. I think we'll get rid of the Brainstorm. Put the Dismal Backwater back. We want to get to at least 4 land here with the Arms of Hadar and don't want to miss a land drop, so I might as well keep the one on top in addition to the Lorien revealed here. We are taking damage here. That's okay. Then they're going to play Lunarch Veteran and no other 1-drop. I like to see that. So I could Brainstorm here, but I'm not going to be able to get a Ninja that I'm going to be able to use this turn anyway. So I might as well just... I still might as well Brainstorm, because all the other things we're doing is like Relic. So let's Brainstorm here. I would also love to build up for like a Gurmag Angler next turn, potentially. With Brainstorm, that's 3. Lorien, that's 4. Ooh, there's our Ninja and a Spellstutter. So we're getting some really good cards here. Of course, we're using Lorien, probably. So we're shuffling 2 of these away. But I almost don't want to. I kind of like everything in our hand. I guess we don't need the relic. I could also put back... I don't want to put back the Lorien because we're going to use it this turn, or maybe upkeep. I could just shuffle away one card, play the relic this turn, attack for 1. Actually, I leave the Fairy Seer back, and I offer the trade for the Veteran, which I could then relic away. I kind of like that, so I don't take a damage. Also, it would fuel the Gurmag. So... I think Ninja and Murmuring Mystic are like the least impactful cards here, because our goal is kind of Gurmag and like spells and Arms of Hadar. So let's put back Murmuring. Of course, they don't have that much removal in this deck. So if they spend a removal spell on a Gurmag, the chance they'll also be able to kill a Murmuring Mystic is really low. This is tough. Maybe I put back Spellstutter Ninja. Ooh, that was a tough one. But we have Spellstutter Ninja coming next, so if I want to, I can next turn Ninja our Fairy and then have Spellstutter, although we wouldn't be able to play it because we wouldn't have the 4th land untapped. But I don't think they're going to attack here, because then we can relic away their Lunarch, and I will do so. I will make that trade. Nice. So we got to save a damage by not hitting them for 1, but we are the control deck, so that's okay by us. Militia Bugler is fine. And we're getting a Ninja here. Of course, I could upkeep stop Lorien if I want. If I do it after, though, cycle it, I have the Ninja, I then get to play the Gurmag Angler for 3. And then they're kind of stuck in their tracks, stopped in their tracks. They did get another Bugler, little Bugler chain. So do I want to cycle Lorien, upkeep? I'm going to lose the Spellstutter either way, so I think that's fine. I kind of like getting the Ninja, so I think we will. Cycle a Lorien for an island, then we'll play Gurmag. And exile everything. And I will just pass. I guess I might as well attack, because I kind of need this guy to be around for the Ninja. And we're not going to trade it for something that'll die to an Arms of Hadar. And if this Gurmag Angler doesn't die, ideally it'll hold everything back. So, like 3 good reasons that we should probably just swing with the Fairy Seer there. Now, if they just play another Militia Bugler and pass to us, I love it. Of course, they're getting a little bit of value. And I can't... It's hard to argue with the Militia Buglers when they're chaining. But hey, all chains come to an end. Look at that. Was the first one decent? I would say so. Was the second one good? 2-3 Vigilance. Ooh, they do have a Grange. Ideally, they'll pump a Bugler that already is surviving from the arms, or a Lunarch Veteran, which will die either way. But if they pump the Inspector, that'll be pretty annoying, because it'll get out of range of the Arms if it are. And they did. What are they, smart or something? They got a pass here, though. Nice. So now we can Ninja. And then replay a Fairy Seer. I think that's right. We do still need to draw something. Like, we would love to start drawing some of our single target removal here. And I don't just want to slam a Murmuring Mystic. We don't... If they do have a 3-Haven Charm, they can just kill it. Obviously, the Gurmag will then survive, which is still a nice wall. But I would love the Murmuring Mystic to get us a little bit of value first. And we don't really have anything to make birds off of it right now anyway, except for an Arms of Hadar, which currently kills 1 creature. So let's just go for the Ninja play. This also lets us draw another card and scry 2 and a lot of good stuff. Counterspell is not bad. Ooh, that almost makes me just want to pass with the Fairy Seer in case they have anything really scary here. I think so. Because if they go for like an all-out attack and then Guardian's Pledge, it wouldn't kill our Angler, but it would hit us for a lot. Or if they try to Thraben Charm this, I have a counterspell for it. There's a couple different things. But this way, it's not a big deal if I get the Fairy Seer down that turn. I think it's better to leave up the counterspell. I don't know. They're going to crack a clue. I accept. And if they just pass here or play something we don't care about countering, I might just crack the Relic. Could be holding something back. There's a Rafine's Informant. That's fine, because that's going to die to our Arms of Hadar. And if it does discard something that we can Relic, you know, that's good. But obviously they know we have the Relic. I don't think they will. Unless it's a Battle Screech, which they could cast right away. And I couldn't do anything about, because they have priority first, which I think would be pretty smart of them to do if they had that. They don't. So they just discard a land. So obviously we're going to take the land, but the question is, do we just crack the Relic to draw a card here? I don't think so. They still have the Lunarch Veteran, which I'd love to get with the Arms and then the Relic. And yeah, I think it's just got more value, and we're not in a crazy spot here. I like Brainstorm. I kind of want to be able to Murmuring Mystic and then Brainstorm, but we kind of need the land for that first. So maybe we'll just Brainstorm here to dig for the land. I could Fairy Seer. I could Fairy Seer first. Scry 2 and then Brainstorm. But I could also Brainstorm, Fairy Seer, and then if I want, I can get rid of those cards. Like if I draw 3 lands with this Brainstorm, I'd rather keep 1 and get rid of 1 or 2 of them. So let's just Brainstorm here. Hey, look, that's 3 lands. We don't really need another black. I don't hate having 2 more, honestly. So maybe I do put back 2 islands, play an Aquifer, play a Fairy Seer, hold up Counterspell, and I can scry 1 or 2 of these lands to the bottom. Because if I keep 1, then I can actually go Murmuring Mystic, hold up Counterspell the following turn, and I kind of like that. So I think we will. Of course, if there's another land underneath that, I'd prefer to only have the 1, but I obviously can't tell. So if we don't need the Counterspell this turn, we'll hold it. Next turn, we can Mystic, hold up the Counterspell for a Thraben Charm or something else. And ideally, we can start drawing spells from there with our other Fairy Seer and casting our Arms of Hadar, and we can get the birds a roll in. That is the goal. Of course, if they play like an Eagles of the North here, probably have to counter that because it does a lot of work for them. Battle Screech is fine. In fact, kind of what I want to see. They do gain some life from it, but I can just Relic it away. And of course, I can Arms of Hadar them as well with the birds, but I might as well not let them gain the life off the Lunarch Veteran, so I think that's fine. And of course, Arms can kill the birds. So, Island, and now I will just Murmuring Mystic. I could Arms here, but I'd rather have the Mystic down if I could, and I'm not in too much pressure that I think I will. If they go for a big attack, I can block with Fairy Seer on the birds, and then if they Guardian's Pledge, I can counterspell it, so I'm not in too much danger of taking a ton of damage. And I'd prefer to get the Mystic in birds. They are going for that big attack. They could also just have like a Prismatic Strands. Oh, there's the Thraben Charm right there. Well, we are going to counterspell that and hope they don't have a second one. Try to keep our Mystic alive. It also makes a bird right when they've attacked, which is pretty good for us. Of course, we still have to keep in mind they could have that Guardian's Pledge. So with a Guardian's Pledge, this Mystic will still survive against an Informant, and it kills it, which is nice. Same with the Skirmag Angler against the Militia Bugler. The Mystic won't kill the Informant if they have the Guardian's Pledge, but it kills it if they don't. The Militia Bugler will die to the Gurmag either way and will survive. And then Bird Illusion kills a bird token. And a bird Fairy Seer. I have to keep in mind that we have this Arms of Hadar, so I don't really want to kill all of these 1 toughness creatures with the ones that I don't have to. But so like maybe I keep a Fairy Seer around, or I could try to kill this Bugler, but I'm pretty sure they have the Guardian's Pledge and it's going to look bad. If I do this, I'm taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 14 total. Not great. I guess we might as well Ninja on Lunark. Ninja's not getting through either way. No, it is, because I can Arms of Hadar and then attack. So I think we'll do this. And accept that we may lose some creatures to the Guardians. But we're not losing our important creatures, and that's what's important. We also are already down to 9 minutes in game 2, so I guess I've been playing a little slow. Like I said, haven't played in a while, and this deck is not the least choices to make in this one. There's quite a bit of decisions, which is totally fine. That's how I prefer to play. So if they don't have a Guardians or a Prismatic here, totally fine. They do have the Prismatic. We're not going to be able to get that here, but we can get it after. Prismatic is going to keep 3 of their X1s alive. I'm assuming they choose blue, which is great because, first of all, we don't take a crap ton of damage. We only take 5. And also, they kept alive their creatures that die to an Arms of Hadar. So actually, this is really good for us. And a Spellstutter Sprite's a great draw off the top. They do have that Prismatic still in the bin. So let's Arms of Hadar them. We wipe 2 birds, an Informant, and a Lunark Veteran. And then let's attack with a Ninja and a Gurmag Angler. I think that's fine. They have to either take some damage, let us draw a card, or both. They do have this Prismatic Strands, which they use. I could have popped the Relic to force them to use it earlier, but that wouldn't have done anything. They took the 5 damage, not the card draw. Okay. Question is, do I want to Relic away this Lunark Veteran? That means I don't get to hold up Spellstutter, but Spellstutter is only for 1 right now. So I actually think we are just going to pop it and Fairy Seer. So get rid of that. Another Spellstutter is pretty good, but again, we can't use them yet. So Fairy Seer is going to power them up. Counterspell and Snuff Out. Beautiful. We're going to put the Snuff Out top because we already have some counterspells in our hand, and so I prefer the kill spell first, but then I also still want that counterspell, obviously. So they could do something good here, but a Thraben Charm is their main removal. They need at least 1 creature first. Not hard for them to have an Inspector and then a Thraben Charm, but even if they do that, they're not in a great spot. We still have a 5/5. We have some flyers, and they don't anymore. And then next turn, I'm going to be able to Spellstutter. If they attack this way, actually, Thraben Charm gets worse because they could block here. I guess we're just going to chump and then take the rest. Because if I block with the Murmuring Mystic and they don't have any, they have the Thraben Charm, but they don't have any other creatures, which is kind of crazy. But they could not kill it unless I blocked. So we'll do that. They have the Veteran, followed by the Skyfisher. Going to pick up the Veteran again, or are they going to pick up the Grange for counter? Or the Inspector, they're going to lose their counter on the Inspector, but they get a token. An Investigate clue, so that's pretty good. And they have a bird, but we have 2 Spellstutters, so we're probably just going to swing with a Gurmag and pass here. I think that's good. And just attack in. If they go for a multi-block, we have a Snuff Out, and if not, we just get to beat them down pretty quick here, I think. And then Spellstutter anything they play. they play a 3-drop first, it's a little awkward because we're going to have to double Spellstutter or just let it happen. But yeah, they're going to swing with the Bugler and the Skyfisher here. And now I think I'm going to go for a double block on this guy. Our Ninja's not really getting in while this Bugler's around anyway, so I'd rather just trade them off. If they have something wonky, we got some counterspells. Or even a kill spell. Let's just yeah, let's just let it happen. It's two life, it's fine. I kind of wanted to snuff out the core Skyfisher, but then if they do have 2 cards to counter here, it'd be a little awkward. I'd rather wait to see if they don't have 2, in which case then we can maybe snuff it out at the end step. But now they have a Skyfisher. Let's try to counter that. And then we have a Spellstutter for something else. They don't have anything, so let's then kill the Skyfisher that they do have. Make another bird. If they have a 3-wood charm here, you know, they got me pretty good. But if not, we're in a pretty good spot. Either way, we're in a fine spot. So kill that. We have a counterspell back up now, and we get to swing with the team. And now with 2 counterspells on hand, attacking for 8 on the ground in a giant form or just in the air, I'm pretty comfortable. They could have a prismatic here, which would hold us off a little bit. It doesn't do too much, and I could counter the first one if I really wanted. But it looks like we're hitting for 8. And then we're going to pass to them. They're down to 6. They crack a clue, which we will gladly not counter with our Spellstutter. They have a Novice Inspector. I don't think that does enough. I think we'll let it go. I could counter it, and I don't hate countering it. It gets us another bird on the board, bird or fairy, which is probably the one I was going to use. But I think we're in a good enough spot that I'm only going to counter flyers here, probably. And just have a quick last game. Crack that clue. And they're going to pass to us. Suffocating Fumes. Well, ain't that a dilly of a pickle? People say that, right? I could attack with a Mystic here and then go for a Suffocating. If they block with an Inspector, why not? Why wouldn't we? Sure. Damage. Damage would be lethal. Now they're going to go for a Prismatic. So since they didn't block lethal, I will just double counter their Prismatic and we will win. There we go. That's 8 damage. All right. We got 621 to win game 3. Let's try to pick it up a little bit. But yeah, that one went pretty well. When they don't triple battle screech us, things are okay. And that Arms of Hadar was pretty good. It didn't end up being like crazy good. It was still it still killed 4 creatures. Not a 4-for-1 because there was the battle screech in there and things like that. And it didn't kill that. Excuse me. It didn't kill that Inspector, but still cleared a bunch of guys when we needed it to, and allowed us to turn the tide and start going on the offensive. Right, this one's a mulligan. Waste no time on that. This one looks all right. Let's keep it, and I think we ship an Aquifer. All right, try to play a little quicker here. We're going to start with just the backwater. Pass. Next turn. If they don't play if they play Raffine's Informant with 3 power or something, we'll probably have to cast it down. But if not, I'll probably just preordain and hold up a Brainstorm. There's a Skyfisher. Pick that up. Seething Landscape. Yeah, let's just pass. I have a counter spell. I really need it, but I'll probably just cast this guy down. No, we'll go to end step. If they go for a Bugler here, I'd love to counter that, I think. Much as that card is so amazing. They're going to go for a Veteran. And then a Rafine's Informant. That's gonna fly. Well, not not really, but it's gonna land actually the opposite. And we're going to cast down the Skyfisher. I know it's a little awkward that we took the 2 from that, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. We're gonna brainstorm here. We have a Spellstutter, so I think we're going to put back a Preordain. We don't need to put back a Lorien because we don't need that. Play the Seething, pass, and then we get to hold up a Spellstutter for 1. Not amazing, but obviously they're white weenie. They have a lot of 1-drops. So we're going to take 3 here and hope that they start with a 1-drop that we can counterspell. Or not even start with it. If they go for a 3-drop and then a 1-drop, that'll be okay too. And if not, we're just going to sack this. Shuffle those away, get an island, and yeah, we'll cycle this for an island as well. And pass Fairy Seer. Perfect. Let's lay that down. That boofs up our Spellstutter is what I was going to say. Certainly does. Get rid of that island, and not, yeah, we don't need that Brainstorm either because we have this Preordain. Play that. Oh, speaking of which, we should probably Preordain here because we can't double other spell anyway, so we might as well cast it, especially since we double scryed to the bottom. We don't want that island. I think we'll keep the Mystic. A little awkward here because we got rid of the island, so we're not going to be able to hold up something for it right away. But, you know, what are you going to do? They're going to swing, and we're going to block the Fairy Seer on the Informant. We got to stop taking damage here, and if they go for Prismatic or something, we'll counterspell, probably. If they just trade, I'm okay with that. Prismatic it is. So we can't Spellstutter, unfortunately. I do think it's worth killing their guy over with the counterspell. They're down to 2 cards in hand. So we're going to do that. Next turn, we're getting... they do have the Thraben Charm. I'm okay with that, honestly. Especially because we get to just lay down this Mystic. 1 card in hand and only 2 creatures on board. They would need to draw or have a creature and a Thraben Charm to be able to kill this. Otherwise, we get to then start holding up Counterspell, Spellstutter, and making birds. So I think we're in a pretty good spot there. I think that was pretty greedy from them to Thraben Charm there. They even play a Plains. And if they're not playing an Eagle with that, I'm not sure why they're showcasing that they have nothing going on. But maybe they draw an Inspector, crack it into a land, into an Inspector. You know, maybe they chain things and want to hit their land drops. It is a deck that uses a lot of mana, even though it's pretty aggressive. Admittedly. Relic is not bad against that Prismatic Strands, so we're gonna play that. I think it's a little awkward. It doesn't let us do both of these, but it's pretty good to get rid of that Prismatic eventually. Eventually, maybe I can just do it right now. Actually, could hit a land drop. I think we'll wait on it. I think it's fine. But we got to hold these up now. If they don't cast anything, I think we're going for the Spellstutter because we can just buy it back with the Ninja. And that's pretty good. And if they don't do anything, probably also will crack that Relic. Could be good to save it for if they get like a Battle Screech. Could be really, really good. But I don't know. I think maybe we just want to go for the draw. So let's do that now. Plus get rid of the Prismatic Strands that they would be able to negate our Ninja draw with. Ooh, another Ninja. We're also going to Spellstutter. They have the removal spell here, so be it. They don't. Arms of Hadar, not a bad one. Swing with the Spellstutter, and we're going to go for that sweet ninjutsu. Draw a card, please. Land would be great. Thank you so much, and I'll pass back to them. If they don't do anything, we'll Spellstutter again, get another Ninja going. And I guess this first Ninja is not going to get through if they have this Informant. So here, I would have loved another land. I think we're just going to Arms them. It doesn't look like the most insane Arms of Hadar ever, but it... Oh, they even have the Guardian's Pledge, and we don't have the Counterspell, so never mind. Pretty good from them, actually. But I'll take it. Still get some good value. They are still 1/1s, and they're normal stuff, so I guess we can still swing with the Ninja. At this point, we don't have another way to kill the Informant, so might as well get rid of it for when this other Ninja comes down. The arms was going to open it up so we have a clock on them and also start drawing cards. But if that's not the case, at least they'll trade here unless they have another. Go for it. They have another Guardian's Pledge. Honestly, that's kind of fine. Based on them losing both of those, I think unless they draw really well, well, that's a Militia Bugler, so maybe I won't say what I was going to say. Bugler's pretty good here because it draws them another card when they're top decking a little bit here. Gets them a Novice Inspector. They're going to probably play that right away. Have that crew to clack. What? That clack to crew? That clue to crack. There we go. And another Inspector. Okay. Well, they have the board, but they don't have the Guardian's Pledges anymore, so I'm kind of not in a terrible spot. Then again, they did just drop their whole board with that Spellstutter in our hand. So we're going to leave back that Bird Illusion. We're going to swing here, and we are going to Ninja again. But they have a Bugler, so it's going to hold it off a little bit. We need to draw another Sweeper. Lorien Revealed's not bad. And yet I think we need to cycle it. I don't think we can really afford to tap out here, because they're going to maybe start going on the offensive. I don't know. It's a little tough. They have a clue token. We don't have any fairies right now, so if they drop a 1-drop, we can Spellstutter them. But if it's a 2-drop, we don't get to. But if they go for any 1-drop, we are definitely eating it up. Looks like they're going to swing here. Well, we will trade a bird for an Inspector. That's fine by me. We'll take 3 off of this. And see if they want to drop any spells. That's a Lunarch Veteran. That's good enough. Any little value we can get with the Spellstutter we're going to take. Play a Plains and turn it into a flyer. Preordain's not bad. Let's find another Arms of Hadar, shall we? We did. We also have a Gurmag. So let's do that. Arms them. And they have 1 guy left. Let's just snuff it out. And attack. Oh, and then we also have six cards in our graveyard, and we're drawing a Gurmag Angler. That's pretty hot, don't you think? Life is beautiful sometimes. All right, 238. You think we can finish this one up? Ooh, turned out pretty well. I mean, let's hope they don't have a Wrath of God or something. Rafine's Informant, not bad. They also have the Lunarch Veteran to buy back. Also, if they get like a Prismatic Strands here, you know, they could be okay. Discard a Thraben Charm. Actually, pretty good for us. They get that Phantom. And a Core Skyfisher. Sure, they can buy this back, turn it into a Veteran, I guess. Extra chump blocker. Not bad. They have a 2/3. And we got a Snuff out. That's pretty good. So let's take out the 2/3. That allows us... it's also their flyer. So it allows us to attack with just about everything. Let's just make it everything for simplicity's sake. They can't kill this with their blockers. We still have a chump blocker, so we're not really in fear of dying here. And we put them down to 10. They trade for a Ninja, but we have a counter spell for whatever they throw out here. I think we're doing pretty well. They're going to pass to us. We got to cast down. I guess we probably just cast that down, don't we? Anything that they can have, we counterspell. And that is going to be lethal. All right. A little down to the wire there, but nothing we couldn't handle. A couple minutes to spare even. That was a pretty fun match, I'll admit. All right, round 2 here. We have 1 land, and it's a tap land, but we're on the play, so we crack that. We find a blue source. We brainstorm, and then we get brainstorm locked. Seems pretty hot. Otherwise, though, we're all 2-drops. We don't get brainstorm locked. It's okay. I don't think that one's gonna fly. This one looks a little bit better. We're gonna keep this, throw back an island, and just start with the backwater. I could start with the Preordain, but I'd rather get the tap land down in case we need like a fast cast down or extract, which looks like, you know, could be good against mono red, assuming that's what it is. Thorn of the Black Rose, not gonna be great here. I think we just extract. I mean, it could be Madness or something else. But based on that, I'm always going to assume mono red and might as well kill a creature that they have. Tomb Raider, pretty good. But no second land drop. That's pretty good. So we get to preordain Lyland and Orion revealed. Might as well keep the island, but not the... I don't even know if we want the island. I know for this Thorn, bottom two, we still drew the island. We have a cast down. I know for the Thorn we wanted the land, but I'm not sure we want the Thorn out against them. I do realize that the reason that the Dismal Backwaters were in fact contaminated grounds, the Swamp Island, was so that we could snuff out, which we would here if we could, which means we're taking 2 damage and we only gained 1 off of it. So actually probably worth it to have it be the true contaminated ground, especially because we could play a Thorn here and have a little bit more confidence. But if I play Thorn, I can't actually snuff out, which means if they have a Lightning Bolt, we lose the Monarch and then we lose the game. So, that's on me. These should probably be contaminated grounds. There are decks that I see that people just kind of run the 4 of contaminated ground type card, even though the snuff outs are not there in those decks. But in this one, they clearly are. So we're going to 4 mana removal spell, and we're going to take one off this Lackey. And see what we got. A Swamp. There we go. I think we don't really have another choice now. First of all, we do have the snuff out to use if we need. But if they go Bolt and a second haste creature, we're kind of screwed. But also, we really only... we don't really have anything else to do. So we're going to snuff out this guy. Nice. They didn't have another haste guy, so we at least keep the Monarch for 1 more turn. Of course, it's a pretty costly card against a Reckless Lackey, or rather a mono-red opponent. Certainly for a Lackey, though. 4 life is a lot. Looks like they're going Rebirthing. Indeed. And we got an island, so that's pretty hot. We will Bojuka Bog them. We do have 8 sideboard cards against them, with 5 Hydros and a bunch of the 1 card. Arms of Fadar and Suffocating Fumes. But we have gotten sufficiently crunched in this game 1. Thorn of the Black. I was going to concede, but I mean, look at this. Look at how good this is. We still have the Thorn of the Black Rose. We still have the Monarch. We're going to die with the Monarch. Isn't that cool? Yeah, we're still dead. Okay. So, Thorn's not good, and I drew those. Snuff Out's not good, and I drew those. So, obviously didn't know who we were up against, and we drew a lot of bad cards against them. So that's kind of going to happen. Let's bring in all of these. We can even bring in the Dispel. I think that's fine, because we're probably going to have enough to take out. I don't really like Cast Downs or Extract here. I'd much rather these, which single target kill, and these, which multi-target kill. Oh, and already we're below the number of cards we brought in, even though we brought in 9 cards. Yeah, I guess we took out tons of removal and the Thorns. So I guess we'll keep in 1 Cast Down. Is there anything else worse? No? Okay. So I guess we'll try it like that. And try to be a little bit better. This hand's pretty good. Agony Warp's not bad. Counterspell, and Spellstutter, Fairy Seer, all decent stuff. So I think we're going to just start with the... If we don't play the Contaminated, we can't play Counterspell quicker. I think we're going to Fairy Seer, because we can still hold up a Spellstutter next turn, and this way we can see what else we got going on. I like the Augur, because it's a good blocker, and it can find us something else. I don't really think we need another Fairy Seer, so I think we'll do 1 and 1. And we'll pass to them. See what they got going on. Clockwork Percuss. Annoying. I don't think we can block that with this, although we get a blocker with the Augur here. So maybe we... Going for 1. And I think maybe we just Spellstutter? I mean, they gotta play something, right? I guess if they play a Mountain and then a 1-drop, they could Bolt. But we have 2 guys, so actually, yeah, I think Spellstutter's pretty good here. And if they just swing for one and pass, you know, I'm digging it. I'm all down for that. They're gonna Kuldotha Rebirth. Well, we're gonna Spellstutter and see if they got the red blast. They do not. Oh. They got the Galvanic, but we have 2 fairies, so we're gonna still be able to counter it. So I'm A-okay with that. I get a Chain Lightning off of the Percush. Let's go for an Augur. Chain Lightning coming up. Hey, look at that. You know how I said Augur's trash? Just like Bugler's trash. Any of these cards that look at the top 3, they never hit what you want them to hit. We all know. Okay, so they have a Chain Lightning to take this out. So maybe I want to leave this back, but their haste creatures are Clockwork, which I could trade with, but I don't want to. Tomb Raider, which is a 2/2, and Reckless Bushwhacker. Not Bushwhacker, Reckless Lackey, which is a 1/2. So I don't think we have a really good reason to leave this back. Unless if they Bushwhacker or Kuldotha Bushwhacker in the same turn, but then they're wasting their Chain Lightning and they need an artifact for that, so I just don't see that happening. They do kill the Augur, they do play a Lackey, and they do play a Clockwork. So no reason I didn't want to attack with that Fairies here. I am always right. Okay, we have a Lorien Revealed. So a little awkward. I wanted Lorien for a land, but if we play the Augur, we can't then counterspell our Agony Warp, but that's going to happen regardless, so whatever. Let's just Augur. Brainstorm Dispel. I guess we're brainstorming. Yeah, I think that's fine. And then spell, recycling this, and we might as well get it contaminated. So we're not going to brainstorm here, right? No, I don't think so. So we're going to do that, and we attacking? I don't think so. Get in damage where you can, but also we are definitely the control by a mile, so might as well try to hold back. In this instance, they're blowing up our Augur, so maybe we'll trade these here. I still don't love it. They did play a Mountain. So I think we'd rather do this when we have the Agony Warp up, so because that will kill this and do this. So yeah, we're going to just take 2 more. Another Augur of Bolas, okay. I mean, they're good blockers in this match, so I don't actually hate getting them. We're going to Brainstorm first so we can put back... we have a lot of counterspells, so we're going to put back 1 of those, 2 of those. Play an Island. Play an Agger. Get 1 of those counterspells. Unless we hit something else. No. Get a counterspell, and I'll pass. Now we're sitting in a good spot. They have 1 card in hand. We have an Agony Warp, 2 counterspells, and we're still at 14 life. So they can also crack this Lackey if they want, but not a big deal if they do. They go for the Lightning Bolt. Do I just counter that? Keeps them back. I could Agony Warp here where they can't crack this, but then I don't get the power debuff from the Clockwork. I think we're just going to counter this. If they draw another Lightning Bolt, kind of awkward, but if not, this Augur can just kind of hold them back. And they can't attack. That's pretty good. They're going to crack the Lackey, which I enjoy. I prefer that it is dead. And then they Kuldotha Rebirth, which I prefer is not cast, but it's fine. Lorien Revealed. Oof. They have 1 card in hand and they're going to top deck something. I think we go for it. I think we cast the Lorien Revealed, because even if they Bushwhacker here, it's not the end of the world. We have a free block and a trade, and we take 6. I think we do it. We even get a Dispel, which is not bad. Just because it's something we can cast for 1. So if they have like a Lightning Bolt on this guy, we can Dispel it. If they have like an Electrickery or something, we can Dispel that. Oh, we got some options. Speaking of, that's a Pyroblast. Let's Dispel. Very nice. And now we get to Ninja here. Ooh, Blue Blast too. All right, we are now rolling in the cash. By cash, I mean card advantage, of course. Because now we get to ninja back this fairy. Draw a card here, scry 2, and we have Blue Blast and Counterspell up. Ooh, Bajuka Box right in our land drops. Things are coming up. Fairies. Seer. Get rid of this island. We'll keep another 1/1. Why not? And they have to get through 2 counterspells. So I think we're gonna get this one. If I had to guess. Great Furnace. Nice. Alright. Let's see if we can pull out game 3 here. I don't think we have any changes to the deck. We're just hoping to draw well. Maybe some Blue Blasts a little early would be good. Oof. Brainstorms, cast downs. This hand dies really, really quickly. So I think we're going to have to throw that back. Obviously, if we brainstorm into something good, it could be okay. This one's quite a bit better, though, because we have Augur to block. Preordained to set up something for the Augur. Not really. Spellstutter's okay. Murdering Mystic's slow. Probably what we're throwing back is this Mystic. So let's do that. Both mulligan to 6. They have the Great Furnace. Lackey. Okay. Not quite as bad as it could have been. We have a counter spell. So I think we're just going to preordain, try to draw 2 good cards as fast as possible. I don't think we need another counterspell. We already have 2. And counterspells are honestly not amazing in the first 4 turns against red. Agony Warp, I do kind of need some crowd clear, some removal, but I don't know if this is it. Next turn we go Augur. Maybe just hold up Spellstutter. The following turn we do either one with the Contaminated. I think we're going to get rid of the Agony too. I don't know if that's right, but it's not coming down for a couple turns. It's also a 2-drop, and we already have quite a few 2-drops, so I'd rather some 1-drops, Red Elemental Blasts, Blue Elemental Blasts, or Dispels or things like that. Brainstorm even is okay. They have only 3 cards left in their deck. That's not right at all. 3 cards left in their hand. They have a red open, so it feels like a Pyroblast. So I could Augur, but then they Pyro it pretty bad. So I could wait. On their turn, they cast something. I Spellstutter. They have to Pyro it. Then on my turn, I get to Augur. Land it, maybe? I don't know if that's better. We do also just have Counterspell. Or if they go for, scary stuff next turn. Yeah, I think we're waiting. Tough. They're chain lightninging us. Okay. I could try to spell stutter, but that feels like a fool's errand, especially because they just have a lightning bolt or whatever. And they're gonna attack. Maybe here I just go for a spell stutter to trade. It's a little silly, but we are dying quickly, and if we are able to make the trade, we're not dying that quickly. If they then turn to mana, what am I saying? Main phase 2, if they Kuldotha or something, it's a little awkward. Also, obviously awkward that if I was gonna make that play, I probably should have just tried to counter the chain lightning. But I'm not the smartest. Let's go for a brainstorm into Augur. There's an Arms of Vidar. Doesn't matter too much now. I guess Counterspell. So that I draw something off of this Augur. Of course, if they have the Red Blast here, yeah, a little awkward. And then a Mountain to discard. Their blood token. Maybe not. Maybe they just keep it. Well, they have a Clockwork and a Lackey. I guess next turn we just throw out a Ninja as a blocker. Means our Arms is another turn away. We're drawing a Counterspell? No, a land first. Yeah, not great. If they can't kill this ninja, we have a blocker at least. This turn we get a counterspell, which could be okay. They have another clockwork. If they do kill it, though, we take 3. We don't even get to play arms until next turn. Ugh. Okay, well, block here. They have like electrickery. And it's a little awkward. Nope. Okay, we took 2. And then end the festivities. Okay. Yeah, not great. Because we get counterspell, we play this aquifer. Next turn we can arms. But then they get 2 cards off of it anyway. So, like, not really very good. Discard a card. What do we need? Like a Mystic, which we put to the bottom, would be pretty good now. Hydra's okay, I guess. Well, we're going to have to go for this arms and hope that we don't get, like, 2 lightning bolts killing us or something. Of course, we have 1 counterspell for one of them, but that's about it. Goblin Tomb Raider and a Galvanic Blast. Phenomenal. So we're down to 4 with that blast. Down to 1. I could counter this, and then the Tomb Raider will put us only to 2, and then I Hydroblast the Tomb Raider. Then we don't die to a 1 damage spell. I guess that's probably a little better, isn't it? But obviously we're still dead to a lightning bolt or something like that. Oh look, another lightning bolt. So that kills us. I don't think we played terribly. I do think we should have spellstuttered that chain lightning, and that would have saved us 3 life, or they would have had to use a bolt on it, which would have saved us 3 life. It was like a little, I didn't want to get roped into the bait. And then I was like, oh, well, I kind of need to kill this creature if I don't want to take a lot of damage, so I cast it anyway. So that was far and away a misplay, and could have made the difference. It was getting pretty close there, but that's okay. We're gonna keep this one. No 1-drop is not great. Another red. No 1-drops, especially not great against against mono red. We have the Bachuka Bog, and then we have the Augur. Counterspell makes that a little awkward, but it's fine. We're gonna Bachuka Bog, Augur, Counterspell, Ninja, Snuff Out, and try not to die. That's the goal. But it's very hard to do when they start with Clockwork Percussionists 2. Because this card is broken. Although them not having another land is pretty nice. So do we want to go with Augur, which is a nice blocker, unless they have a Lightning Bolt in their 5 cards, or Spellstutter, which could probably counter anything that they play? That's tough. But I think we're going to Augur. Would like to stop them from destroying my happiness. And that's that. So we got a counterspell. And next turn we'll hold up counter and Spellstutter. They do have the chain lightning, fair enough. Didn't see that coming. In fact, I thought it was frankly impossible. Another counterspell. Not really what we wanted to see. Okay. So counter their 1-drop, Spellstutter. Then we ninja it back, and then we have a Spellstutter again. We're taking a lot of damage, but maybe that's something. They know we have a counterspell, so maybe they just won't play anything here. Or maybe they'll Clockwork Percussionist, or I mean Kuldotha Percussionist, their Clockwork Rebirth. We're going to Spellstutter that. Yes, please. And then they get a Tomb Raider. We're just coming down next turn. But it's going to get Spellstuttered, so that's pretty hot. Let's ninja this Spellstutter back to hand. Draw a card. Preferably a land. Hey, it was. All right. Pass to them. If they don't have another land drop, we're in a really good spot because we just get to Spellstutter their Tomb Raider or whatever. If they have the mountain, then we get to counterspell the Tomb Raider, I think. Because they're almost certainly going to have a bolt. So we might as well just kill this, I think. I think that's worth it. And then if they play an Epicure, hey, we can still attack with a Ninja unless they leave back both their blockers. In which case, that's fine. Preordain. Well, we get a Dismal Backwater, gain a life. Hope it's worth not having a swamp for, because I hope so. I think we gotta leave back the Ninja. I do like drawing a card here, but I don't like taking damage. And we can probably prevent ourselves from taking damage here because we can Spellstutter and Counterspell. So now we have a way to blow out two of their things. Of course, if they have another mountain, maybe they'll have a couple of bolts. But I think it's worth the try. Aldarin, let's try to Spellstutter that. It worked. And if they swing, I'm going to block them both. Because we don't really need the Spellstutter anymore. It'd be good, but let's just kill their guys while we can. Clockwork turns up a Tomb Raider, which will counter if they cast it. Or I guess I could let it go and then snuff it out. If they try to kill our Ninja? Sure, let's do that. Hey, they tried to kill our Ninja with an End the Festivities. Ooh, perfect. So this way we get to snuff out and still hold up Counterspell. And draw a card with our Ninja. Or we could even ninjutsu it. Okay, we're getting a little too deep in the weeds there, I think. Draw an island. Not amazing, but it's fine. The Counterspell is going to be for a kill on the Ninja or like a Kuldotha. I think our main hits. Yeah, I think it's worth it. Because if they have to spend another bolt to kill this, and then we play another Ninja, like they're out of gas, and we have ninjas galore, kind of still. All right, yeah, I'm good with that. The bad thing there would be if they went like a Kuldotha, that would hurt. But I think we're okay. Let's Preordain, get rid of any lands. I'll keep another Preordain. We have the mana for it, honestly, that I'd prefer to keep digging. Get rid of any lands. There's a land. Obviously I don't love Cast Down in this matchup, but they don't have anything right now, so if they are to play like a creature, Cast Down would be pretty good, especially if they use it as a blocker for this guy. And we kind of have the mana that the two mana kill spell isn't a big deal, so I'd rather just have it. They do have a Kicked Bushwhacker, so they get to attack for 4 here, which I think I'm taking and trying to outdraw them because we're still at 8 with a Cast Down. And I just don't think trading for there is the right call. Ooh, Augur's a good draw here. Let's play that. See what we pick up. Phenomenal. And that's why that card is the GOAT. I'll attack for 2. Try to draw a non-land card, ideally. Snuff Out's not bad. I can cast that, and then I'll pass. So if they swing with both, I will probably block one and cast down the other. Or snuff out the other, actually. Because it's more expensive. Ooh, and if they have a Bushwhacker, I'll probably just block one and kill the other 2. They get 1 card off the Clockwork, but otherwise they are out of gas. And we're still at 8. I think that's best. Obviously, they could get a lightning bolt or something off the clockwork, and that could kill a ninja, which would be annoying. But like, I mean, it's a clockwork. It's gonna get them a card no matter what at some point. There's the bolt. So, what am I gonna do about it? And if they go for that, then hey, they're not killing us with it. Still 8 damage away, which is roughly 3 cards. Another augur. Let's see if it is slightly better than this one. It's way better than this one. Brainstorm or Preordain? That's a good question. I think with 0 cards in hand, Preordain's probably a better one. If I had to guess. Let's cast that. Seething Landscape. Can't even cycle it. Lorien looks insane. We're just going to hardcast that right now. And yeah, pretty good. The chances that they could have 2 hasty creatures here are 0, I think. So I'm going to attack with one of these guys. Like, the only way I could possibly foresee that happening is like a draw 2, like a Ren's Resolve, into 2 1-drops, but they don't even have the 3rd mana. Or the 4th mana for that, so I don't think that's going to happen. And they concede there. They didn't even let me get the Monarch, so that's kind of rude. Same as last time, we're going to take out these 6 4-drops and these 3 2-drops and put in all of these 1-drops and higher. All right. Now that we have a streamlined game plan for mono red, let's try to get a hand that is keepable, shall we? Hey, if these augurs actually pick up some cards, this hand looks pretty good. Question is, do I want to get rid of a land, be greedy, or what? A Dispel? Because for turn 1, we're going Dismal. Turn 2, we're going Island Augur. Turn 3, we have Contaminated Augur. So maybe we don't need this Dispel, but I kind of like having it, especially if we get like an island that we can play with a second augur that we can keep it up to hold against a bolt. So maybe we just don't need a brainstorm here, because an augur can probably find a brainstorm. Sure, let's try that. Great Furnace into... Ooh, Great Furnace always stops my heart just a little bit. Just a mini heart attack. A literal cardiac arrest when I see a Great Furnace. But then when it's followed up by not a Tomb Raider, but literally no spell at all, oh, then I have like an unheart attack. I like my heart's like it gets like 10 beats in like half a second. It's probably just as unhealthy. We drew a counterspell here. We're gonna augur. They could have a blast here, a red blast. Should be pretty annoying. They didn't. Of course, this augur is useless. So if they have a bolt, it'll be just the same as the blast, seeing as we didn't get anything off of it. Anyway, what a good card. The good news is we're on turn 3 and they haven't dealt us any damage, but that's a Kuldotha Rebirth into a mountain off the experimental synth, and a reckless bushwhacker if they're really lucky. They're not really lucky, so that's something going for us. Of course, we didn't hold up the counterspells there, so we're not crazy lucky either. They didn't have the bushwhacker. They don't have any creatures in hand, clearly, which means that they have blasts and damage spells. So if I play an augur here, it probably gets blasted, but it didn't get blasted last time, so I think it's probably just another damage spell. So I could play it, or I could just cast down one of these guys next turn, play it, and I can hold up a Dispel. I think that's probably better. Not necessarily what I want to do. I want to be greedy and throw my augur, which can block the 1/1s, but like the chances of them having a lightning bolt are, can I say, insanely high? I think insanely high. I think we're even taking this here just in case they play something that I want to counterspell. And if they don't, I'll cast down one of these little buggers, just to stop the bleeding a little bit. There's a Lorien. We're going to definitely cycle that for an island. Play the island, and then we'll play an augur. And And we're gonna save it the first time. Ooh, nice. Blue Blast. So we have a good amount of interaction here. I expect them to have at least 2 bolts for this, but they didn't have any on the end step, so maybe it's a bunch of Chain Lightnings or just they wanted to play Sorcery Speed. There is a Chain Lightning, in fact. We're going to counter the first one. We have 2 more counter spells behind that, not to mention the Dispel, which also counters stuff if they have Instants. And I'd like to keep this alive to block these if possible. I think they're just going to blow it up with something, but they have a Bushwhacker. So they drew the Bushwhacker because they didn't have it earlier. But they don't have something else, so maybe they haven't end the festivities. Okay, so I block here, they end the festivities. That's pretty annoying. Because then I lose this, and I don't have anything to do with the rest. I think I just take 6 then, and I go to 12. Because that way they can't kill this, it looks like. Unless they just prefer to bolt it now and didn't, would have preferred to end the festivities. Another counterspell. All right, now we're just going to leave this back, block, whatever. And then if they try to kill it, we have infinite answers. I think that's how we're doing it. So they're swinging, block. Of course, a Galvanic Blast also only deals with this. We're going to Lightning Bolt it now? That's kind of weird. Let's Dispel. I think that's the most restrictive of our counterspells. Question is, do I don't want to just Blue Blast one of these? I don't think so. I think we can just take it. It's really hard for them to attack, especially when we have counterspells on everything now. Preordain's not a bad draw. Let's see what we can find off of it. Suffocating and a Spellstutter. I mean, I'll keep both of those. We already have counterspells, so let's put the Suffocating on top, take that first, and then pass. So if they go with like if they have another Kuldotha, or just go with a Bushwhacker, or both, well, Suffocating Fumes, and obviously that's really good. And if they don't, and just go for like bolts on this or something, we'll protect it with these guys. They play Mountain, or rather Zinanato plays Zinanato. I could Suffocating here, but that doesn't feel necessary since we're already holding them back with our one guy. So I think we're just going to pass, wait for them to act first. Now we have a Spellstutter that we get to add to the board when they do so, and then 1 or 2 of these to follow up. And if they just keep passing, I'm okay with that for a couple turns. Of course, the game going longer is helpful for us, and we're getting all our sideboard cards, which I am absolutely loving. So, yeah, we'll see what they get. Of course, they could just be drawing a Lightning Bolt every single turn, and they're going to use them all at the same time when we can't afford to counterspell everything. And that would be quite unfortunate. But at the moment, we have 3 counterspells. So the first 3 bolts that they cast are basically void, and then they have to have 10 damage after that. So pretty tough for them to have, but we'll see. They're going to go for a Tomb Raider. We're going to try to Spellstutter it. Since that's something that doesn't die to the Suffocating Fumes, we might as well spend our energy on it. And they're going to let it go. Fair enough. See if this is their time. They're going to Chain Lightning us. I think we're going to let that go. I'd rather they drop all of their cards now. Casting Flame Breather, well, we're going to counterspell that. I guess they know we have a blue Elemental Blast, so maybe I should have just used that. There's a Brainstorm. Let's try to find something good here. Another Augur. Lorien. Okay, I think we just put these 2 back. Actually, we've already shown them blue Elemental Blast, so let's put the blue blast back. Augur. Find the blue blast. Might as well just cycle the Lorien, right? Because I don't think we're going to be hard casting it anytime soon and tapping out. Might as well just turn it into a land. Play that island, in which case maybe I should have just saved the island that we had, in which case I would have had up. It doesn't really matter. We will attack for. I think we're gonna go 2 now. We were holding both of these back with just 1 augur before, and we do want to kind of speed up our attack clock a little bit here since we're getting close to danger zone. But we still do have 2 counter spells. Clockwork's annoying because that feels like something we should probably blast. But if they have 3 bolts, I counter this. They bolt, bolt, bolt. I have to counter one of those, and they get in and they kill me. So I guess we have to let it go. It does die to the suffocating, which is nice, but it also obviously gives them a guy. Ooh, okay. Them not attacking here is nice. Because then I can just do this. And it's not too big of a deal. So I think we're going to just do it now. Obviously it gives them this, which I don't love. But they have a Galvanic. Ooh. When it's at 4 damage, I think we're going to counter that. They have 3 artifacts. And they have another Galvanic Blast. And I think we're going to counter that too. 4 damage is pretty much the most they can do with a single spell unless they're grenading us. So I think countering the 4 drops, the 4 damage spells are pretty good. Even though it's not quite what I wanted to do right there. And they have a lightning bolt. And of course we're tapped out, which I don't like, but they have a lightning bolt and 1 other card in hand. We're going to attack with these 2 in case they have 1 haste creature. But trying to add a little bit of a clock here. And hope we don't die. There's a bolt to us. And they pass. I think we're just going to go for it. Clearly they didn't have a haste creature there, at least not one they wanted to cast. So we're just going to keep attacking for 3 now. Really go as fast as we can with like a 6-turn clock. Knowing we only have 1 counterspell though. But they hit another land drop, so they're not getting much either, looks like, if we're lucky. Another island. Let's see if we can get in before they find a lightning bolt or 2. They're going to pass. We get another island. Oof, nerve-wracking for sure. I'm going to play these out. I often like to bluff, like having a lot of cards, but first of all, it's not going to actually matter. They're going to play what they have, whether we have cards or not. And if we happen to top deck like a Lorien Revealed, I would like as many lands on the field as possible so that we could hold up as many counterspells after that. Chain Lightning, we're just going to have to let that go, I think. And then if they have a second one, counter that, obviously. And then if they have a third one, we will die to it. This is the reason to not necessarily do it that way, because now 1 damage kills us, and if they have another Epicure, that'll still kill us. Whereas if we'd countered the Chain Lightning, maybe we would be okay. But yeah, based on what they had been doing, I assumed they'd just gotten to the point of potentially killing us, so I think we're okay. Hydroblast is a great draw. I assume their 2 cards in hand are lands that they're holding for a Voldaren Epicure blood. But of course, now an Epicure kills us, so the resolution of that's going to kill us either way. But Hydroblast means we get 1 more turn, and we're only 1 turn away from killing them. So that's a Tomb Raider. We're going to have to counter that. We could just kill it when it's on the field, but I don't see any reason to slow roll there. If they have a burn spell, we're dead. And if they don't, they're almost dead. Dismal Backwater is something. I mean, it makes it so an Epicure doesn't kill us. Question is, I'd probably just leave one of these augurs back now. I have a 2-turn clock either way, and this way we don't die to a Tomb Raider. Like if we had done this last turn, we obviously would have had a slower clock, but we wouldn't have actually had to fear that Tomb Raider, so it might have been smarter. But of course we want to kill them as fast as possible. So let's see what they draw here. Let's see if it was all for naught. That's an Epicure. It's a damage, and it's a redraw, which is really good, but it's not quite lethal because of that Dismal Backwater redrew. So let's see what they got. A Kuldotha Rebirth. That's not lethal, but it also makes it so we don't have lethal on them. Spellstutter, oh my gosh. Because we didn't attack with the auger, we don't have lethal on them. But I still think it was probably right to do so. We can attack with Spellstutter, puts them to 1. We attack with 1 or 2 augers, and they have to block them. Which means that they lose 2 guys. But then they have 2 creatures to attack us with, and we have 1 Spellstutter, and that kills us. Whereas if we leave everything back, we have enough blockers with our Spellstutter from hand to survive. So we have to pass, hope they draw nothing, or are foolish enough to cast their spell pre-combat. If they draw like a bolt or something, and we'll be able to Spellstutter it, and then we'll have enough blockers / flyers. They do cast it pre-combat. We're absolutely going to take that. And that means that if they attack with everything, we'll block everything and we'll have 2 augers to kill them. And if they don't attack with everything, then we can just kill them with the 2 sprites. Whew. That was quite the game at the end there. They were at 18 life, and I just started having to wail it on them for 1 or 2 or 3 damage. A couple minor misplays there. Maybe I should have held an auger back earlier. Maybe I shouldn't have held that one back, knowing that if they got a Kuldotha, they would have been able to block. But, quite the end to that game. I really like that. All right, round 4 here. We have pretty reasonable hand. We're going to keep this one. Augur on 2, maybe a Ninja on 3. Maybe just counter spells. We have a Snuff Out and a Lorien to find a swamp for it, which will be cycling that on turn 1 for the Contaminated, and then probably playing that on turn 3 alongside our 2-drop. So, seems fine to us. Opponent on the mull to 6. What a loser. Imagine being that unlucky. Play an island and see if we're against the 3rd red match in a row. I can speak once in a while. No, indeed it is a forest with no turn 1 play. That's interesting, because forest usually means Arbor Elf, Wild Growth, or something similar. Forest no play almost makes me think Brood Scale, because there's fewer 1-drops in that, but usually they're 2 or 3 colors, and so they'd have a tap land, but they did mull to 6, I don't know. In any case, we're going to auger here, and then next turn we get to hold up Counterspell and Snuff Out. This auger, of course, is going to find us nothing. That's what they do. Oh, never mind. I was talking crap, and it tried to show me up. Why? Was there some update where they didn't? Why won't these show in one? I guess it's probably because it's separating these from these. Do I want a Lorien and hit my land drops? I already have 2 removal spells. I think we'll do that. Although green does mean creatures generally, so maybe a Snuff Out would be better. But I think we'll stick with the Lorien. All right. So if they just go like, I don't know. Oh, Troll of Khazad Doom. That probably means, and they got a swamp off of it. A Dredge, I would guess. Exhume. Nice. I can't snuff that out. Can cast it down, but not quite yet. I can't Ninja now. Annoying. I mean, they're going to be able to hit us for 6 here. What are you going to do? Then we'll cast it down, and we'll Ninja. Fair enough. Okay, well, glad we didn't keep that other Snuff Out, because we certainly don't need it. The good news is, against Dredge, counterspells are really, really good. So, plus, Augur's probably going to be able to attack past, and then we can Ninja, and then we can cast this down, and, we may be A-okay. Get our Ninja going. Conduit Pylons, Surveils to the top. I didn't know that was an option. And they're going to Scrap Work Mutt. I could counterspell this. How much do I care? They can obviously unearth it. I think the answer is little. I care little about that. They discarded Generous Ant. And Yeah, we'll cycle this other Lorien. I could keep it because we're going to be drawn from the ninja, but that's okay. Another reason to have more islands. Let's attack with ninja. Well, not ninja yet, but ninja in disguise. Draw a card off of Secret Ninja. Bajuka Bog. Oh my gosh. How lucky can we be? And I'll just pass to them. So now we get to cast this troll down. And next turn we get to Bajuka Bog them away. All go away. If I want to. I might actually hold the Bajuka Bog for a couple extra rounds because it's our only way to deal with Graveyard in our main deck. So we're going to cast down this troll. Obviously don't want to take 6 here again. We will take 2 from this Scrapwork mod. Hope they don't have another Exhume, to be honest. Or a Dread Return. Both would be pretty annoying. Oh look, it's another Exhume. Get a Generous Ant this time. Nope, they went for the troll. Troll can't be snuffed out, so that's a little annoying. Hidden Grotto, a Lotleth Giant into the grave. Augur of Bolas and a Fairy Seer. So that's enough creatures to block a troll, but it doesn't actually quite kill it because we don't have the power. So that's annoying. Let's Fairy Seer. Ooh, Cast Down. Perfect. Another ninja seems good. I could play Augur, but I think... Oh, well, I can't attack. I was going to say I don't want to. I'd rather draw with this and then kill that, but I can't do that because they're going to block. If I Augur, I could cast down. But then I can't have Counterspell, but I don't really need a Counterspell unless they Exhume again, which is totally possible. Yeah, we'll Augur. In this case, the ninja on top was pretty irrelevant. But this way I get to cast this down, and then I get to attack. I get to draw a card. And that's pretty good. And I like that muy much. Alright. So, hopefully no Exhume for the 3rd time, or Dread Return. And then we get to Bajuka Bog them. Get rid of all these guys. Crawling Infestation. Okay. I respect someone trying this out. Beginning of your upkeep, you may mill 2 cards. I mean, that's pretty good against Bajuka Bog. Whenever one or more creature cards are put into your graveyard from anywhere during your turn, create a 1/1. Triggers only once each turn. So this card's cool. Problem it's not amazing. The reason it's not amazing is it triggers only once each turn and only during your turn. So only once per turn cycle can you make 1/1/1. But honestly, right here, it's going to be pretty good. Oh, and they got a Dread Return, so they actually get to get back a Generous Ent. Pretty glad that they went for that, though, over the Troll once again, because Ent dies to Snuff Out. So, that's pretty good. Problem is... I think it's fine, actually. They only have 1 card in hand, so I don't want to pay life for the Snuff Out. So I think we're just going to hardcast it on this Generous Ant. I'm not going to be able to Bajuka Bog this turn because I want to hold up Counterspell, but that's fine because if I have Counterspell, I don't think I need the Bajuka Bog this turn. I think we just do this. I don't really want to Snuff Out just because it's, you know, it's 4 life. It's a lot of life to lose against this opponent. We'll draw a card, another land. So we're getting a little flooded here. We might be okay because they're running low on cards, but this Crawling Infestation is going to be pretty good. At their upkeep, they milled 2, make an insect, and then they can dredge the Stinkweed Imp if they want. That's all pretty good. They do. They find another Dread Return. Bunch more guys as well. They cast a Stinkweed Imp. Sure. And they're going to pass, it looks like. Don't have another way to make a creature for that Dread Return. Brainstorm's not bad. Let's see what we get with that. Maybe a cast down would be pretty good. Kill the stinkweed. Boom, boom. Okay. Fairy Seer and more lands. Guys, can we stop? Let's get rid of 2 lands and let's play a Fairy Seer to actually get rid of those lands. Scry them both to the bottom. I think we attack with the ninja. They block with the stinkweed, and we Bojuka Bog them. And then they're in a rough spot. All they have going for them is the Crawling Infestation. They have a food token, and they have 1 card in hand. So I don't love losing my ninja here, but I think it's worth it to get rid of the Stinkweedum, because if it sticks around, then they'll be able to rebuild their graveyard a lot faster. And I would rather that does not happen. Plus, we have 1 counterspell here, so if they try to cast like another Crawling Infestation or just a big old guy, then we have at least 1 answer, if not much else. Ooh, and they even just concede right there, so that's pretty nice for us. 1 of Bojuka Bog in the main, phenomenal. Obviously, against Dredge, we get Relics. Suffocating Fumes is already decent against Dredge. I think, you know, they just have a lot of 1/1 guys that get in the way. Helps take away creatures for Dread Return. But seeing as they also have the infestations, Crawling Infestations, I definitely think a Suffocating Fumes is good here. I don't think we need to go all the way into Arms of Vidar. I don't like that too much. But definitely some of these. Snuffouts are bad. We don't like losing life, and most of their creatures are black. So that seems all bad. Extracted Confession is sorcery speed and only gets their biggest guy. It's just not great. I don't think they have anything to dispel, though. And Hydroblast, Red Blast, I don't think they have anything for that. Annul. They have a Crawling Infestation, which is good to know. They also have Scrapwork Mutt, which is always annoying. Not the best to counter, obviously, but still fine. Do they have anything else relevant that's an artifact or an enchantment? I don't think so. So I don't think Annul is worth bringing in. So I think these are the only 3 we want to bring in. Of course, that means we need to not take out everything we wanted to take out. Maybe a Snuff-Out's fine. Oh, we do also have a Dispel main deck. Do we have anything to Dispel? I mean, they might side in Ancient Grudges, but like if they do, that's fine, because this is literally our only hits. They might side in... Oh, I guess Dispel can get a Gnaw to the Bone. Not that that's great against us. I don't know. Feels like we don't have a lot here. Maybe we do keep it in Extract. It can just hit a early Exhumed guy if they have that. And keep it as Snuff Out, I guess. I think we just have to accept a couple of these are not at their best in this matchup. But Bojuka Bog and 2 Relics and a whole lot of cantrips to find them could be pretty good. We don't have any of those in hand, but we do just have solid lands, curve, cantrips, and even a Thorn that if we get 2 can probably be pretty good. I think we're going to keep this one, even though we'd obviously like to see a Relic or a Bojuka Bog in our opener. So we're going to go Aquifer first, into Augur on 2, and hopefully the Ninja. Hidden Grotto, cycle the Troll in response, so they get the Surveil and can keep a card on top if they want. And they do. We actually got a Dismal Backwater. I guess we might as well gain the life instead, since we don't have the Snuff Out yet. So they get to draw whatever they kept on top, play a Swamp, and they got their Exhume. Okay. Once again, going for the fast Exhume plan. Well, we're going to go for the Augur. It can dig deep to find a cast down. That's a Lorien. Which is obviously what we need to find. They were on the play, so there was no way we were going to be able to hold up a counterspell for that anyway. And then I guess next turn maybe we just double Preordain, try to find cast down or extract a Confession. 3 mana for a Crawling Infestation. This is quite the curve out of them. I mean, usually I'd be ecstatic to see a Relic, especially on turn 3. This early, I would generally argue is early, but we have this we can't deal with yet, and now we have this going on. So I think we preordain. I could, of course, ninja here, but I think we're pretty desperate, honestly. So I think we're going to preordain, try to find that cast down. We found it. Of course, we can't play it this turn, so we're going to be taking another 6. Don't think we need another augur. So let's get rid of that, keep the cast down. Play an aquifer. Might as well attack. There's probably no haste coming out here. And I think we'll just get down the relic. It doesn't need anything relevant here, but might as well just eat something. Then again, if they did side in Ancient Grudges, this is bad. You don't want to run this out so early because they can just Ancient Grudge it before you get to use it very much. My goal here is to put it down early and eat things along the way, and then pop it at some point. But it might not be great. That said, it will make it next turn, when I get to hold up 1 mana with it, it will make exhumes and things like that a little bit harder. But for now, it doesn't do much. They did mill a Dread Return and a Wooded Ridgeline, which is nice because it was no creatures. Dread Return is not super relevant in the face of a Relic of Progenitus, and they're hard casting an Acorn Harvest, which is 2 1/1s. So I can live with that. 2 1/1s is fine. Pass to us, we get a Agony Warp. We're going to Island Cycle this Lorien for an untapped land. Play it. I'll Relic them. And I think we're just casting down this Troll and holding up a Relic to pop. Of course, if I don't pop it now, they could just Acorn Harvest, but them making 1/1s is not really my concern. And my concern is more holding this for longer. So I think we're just going to pass here. We're not dead yet. We just took 12 damage when we would have preferred to not because of that exhume. They choose not to mill with the Crawling Infestation, I guess just because we have the Relic, which I am A-okay with. I understand them not wanting to for some reasons, but it's also like if they did mill and hit a creature, they would get at least a 1/1 out of the deal. So, fair enough. Then again, I guess killing the Troll gives them their 1/1 because it's a creature card put into the graveyard from anywhere. During your turns. Actually, maybe I should have killed that on my turn. Good to know. I literally have not played against this card before, but that's a good thing to keep in mind. The good news is if they don't have much else going on here, we can start holding up Counterspell, we can preordain. As soon as we have 5 or 6 mana, we can put down a Thorn and then also hold up that Counterspell. And then we can maybe start getting into things a little bit. And by that I mean just ideally win. But for now, we'll see if they want to, Dread Return their Troll. It's not amazing for them, but it would force us to pop the Relic. Hey, that's exactly what they want to do. Forces us to pop the Relic or have another answer for this Troll. And we don't have another answer at the moment, so I actually think we just need to get rid of the Relic. So, pretty awkward, actually, that we killed the Troll on their turn. Didn't remember that they got the Infestation. Of course, if they had just milled with it, they probably could have gotten it anyway. But I think we're going to have to sack the Relic because currently don't have another cast down. And awkward that what we draw off the Relic is a Gurmag Angler, although we only lost a couple cards ourselves. 4 cards, actually. So, a little annoying there. But hey, if they don't get to play a creature here or anything, maybe we get a Thorn down. Maybe if they just play like a Wayfinder or something, we can get a Thorn down anyway. Cycle of Generous Ent is turn 5, so trying to hit their land drop. Get a forest out of it. There's a Wayfinder. See if they find another land. And those are the exile cards. What am I looking at? Boop, boop. They hit 2 Scrapwork Mutt, Mesmeric Fiend, and Crawling Infestation, so didn't hit a land. And then they have an Exhume for their Generous Ent. Okay. 1 card left in hand. So I could put down a Thorn here. Oh, but they have 2 Scrapwork Mutts, which they currently can only get 1 of. But putting down a Thorn seems bad because they can take it with Unearth creatures. Then again, if they attack, they would have to attack with 3. I could block 2, and then they leave back a Generous Ent. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, so we're not going to do that, I don't think. Let's preordain. Seething Landscape, we do want to hit our land drop, and I don't hate a Spellstutter. So I think we're going to... Ugh. I guess we're just going to Spellstutter next turn. Seething Landscape now, because we'd prefer to play that. We have a Fairy Seer, waste one of our scries, and also Landscape. Actually, maybe we just crack this Landscape now and then scry after, because we're going to want to sack it either way to have as much blue as possible. And that's... I do like that Spellstutter, but I think it's fine. Let's crack this. Get an island. We still hold up Counterspell here. Hey, and then we still got Spellstutter. So let's go Augur, Spellstutter. And then we have Counterspell here. Whereas if they go on the offensive with the Generous Ent, I guess I can Agony Warp to block it with the Augur, maybe? They're going to mill with the Infestation and make a 1/1. You have 2 Scrapworks in the grave, but nothing else relevant at the moment. Yeah, so I think we're going to Agony Warp. It's a little awkward. We don't need the Agony Warp in this matchup, really. I guess the question is, are they going to cast anything that I'd rather counterspell here? We're not killing this, so they don't really have a reanimate that matters. I guess if they play like a Mesmeric Fiend, that could be a little awkward if they take our counterspell. Or our Ninja. But I think it's fine. So we're going to Agony Warp this and kill... we might as well kill the Insect token. It doesn't put a creature into their graveyard. So we'd prefer to kill the 1/1 that does not add to their grave count. And this way we just get an extra block out of the Augur. It's not a big deal to us if it dies, but this way it can chump next turn as well. Of course, we're going to probably Ninja the Fairy Seer this turn, which means they might leave back the Generous Ent to block that anyway. Because if they don't, we can kind of just outdraw them. We get a Spellstutter here. And we have an Augur on top. So, yeah, we're going to attack with the Fairy Seer. I could go for the Augur to bounce. It's more card advantage, but it's more costly too. We're already getting an Augur on top, and I'd rather probably replay the Fairy Seer and hold up Counterspell this turn. We're just going to do that, since it only costs 1 to play the Seer. We get a card draw here. And then just play the Seer, hold up our Spellstutter and our Counterspell, and set up our draws. Dispel, we didn't even want this in the match, so I'm happy to get rid of that. Brainstorm, we will keep on top. So, Brainstorm can make it so that our Augur definitely gets value next turn, and also can maybe dig us for another land, which we wouldn't hate. It's also another card for our graveyard, which means we can maybe get this Gurmag Angler out pretty soon. Which will make it so that we can actually block this Generous Ent more effectively. So we got some things going on. We're going to mill again and hit a Maverick, which can make a +1/+1 counter on a creature. So that can make one of these guys a 2/2, and then it can block with the Ninja. So that's not bad. It allows their Generous Ent to keep attacking. If they do swing here with the Ent, we probably just chump with the Augur, I think. I prefer the Fairy Seer for evasion and creature types for the Spellstutter. They're doing that exactly. Very smart. And yeah, so next turn, we know the top is Brainstorm. Probably going to just play that right away. See what we get. We might want to Augur, hold up Counterspell. If we find a land, let's see, we'd have 4 spells in grave, so we're probably not Gurmag Anglering, because we'd prefer to hold up our Counterspell at some point anyway. They're going to swing at both of these. Oh. So they're going aggressive, and I guess they're just willing to chump the Insect with the Insect for the Ninja. Okay. So Exhume is 2 mana, so I think we want Spellstutter or Fairy Seer around for it. So I could block here, take 5, or I could chump, or I could block here, but then we're taking 2 for what feels like no good reason. Or I could just double block the Wayfinder. I do still lose the Seer, but actually that feels okay. It's not my favorite, but I think this is probably worth it. We don't really need the Seer. It's just, you know, it would be nice to have. But I think this is fine. We're down to 4. Let's see what they got here. A Rubble Belt Maverick. I think we're just spell stuttering that. I mean, we can only get a 1-drop with it, so we might as well, as long as we're not going to die. If they exhume after it, it's a little annoying, but I don't think it's the end of the world. Because they'd have 2 generous Ents, but then we can just, like, Thorn, which can trade with one of them. Plus we have Augur for another chump blocker. We're getting up to Gurmag. I think we're going to go for this. Of course, they can Rubble Belt onto the Insect token, and then that can still trade for the Ninja, but they could also just have double blocked with the Maverick and the Insect, so that's not much of a difference there. And honestly, we might have to start leaving the Ninja back, because we are at 4, and they do still have 2 Scrapwork Mutts, which have Unearth, so it's possible that they will, if they have 6 mana with red, because currently these are their only red sources, they could unearth them both, and that would be 4 lethal attackers, so we'll need to have 3 blockers. But for now, we're going to start with this Brainstorm, I think. 2 more counterspells. I mean, I'm not upset to see them, but that's not necessarily everything we need. So I'm putting back this Thorn. I think Thorn's going to be good. It's just going to take another turn or 2. So I'd like to put down the Contaminated this turn. Gurmag's only 2 mana, so actually I could put back 2 counterspells, put back a 2-mana Gurmag, and then hold up a counterspell. Next turn I draw a counterspell, and I can augur for the 3rd counterspell, so I think that's what we're doing. Boom, boom. And I could attack with Ninja. They can trade. If they don't trade, if they trade, I can play a 1-mana Gurmag. That doesn't really matter. If they trade, I can play a Thorn. Probably block, but then I can't hold up Counterspell, and I want a Counterspell. So if they don't block, play Gurmag, I'm not dead. But then I have to chump this. Yeah, I don't think it's worth it, much as I would love to. So I think we're just going to play a Gurmag and pass the turn. I would love to attack for a little bit more, but remember, Scrapwork Mutts were at a bit of a rocky place. Being able to have 1 counterspell up this turn, 2 up next turn. Did they choose not to mill? I don't know why this card is in your deck if you're not choosing to mill. Mesmeric Fiend. That's a little awkward. We have to counter it, because otherwise they just take the counterspell and they see our hand. And so if they have something else more dangerous, we're not going to have a counterspell for it. But what are you going to do? We are going to counter it, and that does still give them their 1/1 here. But I still feel like you want to mill. I don't know. There's a Wayfinder. Okay, that's not too dangerous, unless they get a Dread Return and a Giant, which would be pretty good. No, they got an Acorn Harvest and another Scrapwork. Exhume. Okay. So next turn I get to hold up 2 more counterspells, because I draw 1 and then I draw 1 off the Augur. So that's good. Oh, they have Reach here, so I can't actually even get in with anything. So we're still kind of on a knife's edge here, where I have to have the counterspells, but I need to survive long enough. And I'm not really doing anything. But after playing the Augur, 2 counterspells, and then next turn I can Thorn. Maybe I'll be okay. Oh, they are swinging here. Okay. Okay. Well, I can't really afford to just chump, because their guys are going to keep coming. So I think I just need to... Well, I guess I could. I could chump this with whatever, and I could eat this. Or I could block here and here, trade, and then just block here. I'm losing a guy here. Okay. So if I block here, so they're at 3 creatures. We're each at 4 creatures. So I could either trade 1 and 1. So we're both at 3. Next turn I could play a Thorn, so I have 4. They can scrap work, but they could potentially double scrap work. But that's fine. I think we keep this Gurmag. And we chump with this Spellstutter. I think I like this the best. Because this Thorn can trade for the Genersent, right? And then I get to keep this Gurmag Angler, which is a really good blocker against, obviously, everything else. So I can Thorn here, which is good for this, or I could just Augur and I have double Counterspell. I'm going to say I don't need the double Counterspell, which is potentially risky. I mean, I'm still going to draw them both. I'm just not going to have them both up this turn. I don't think I need to hold up 2 this turn, and I'd really like to get this Monarch down. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to just hold back. I could also swing with a Ninja, but that feels way aggressive. And of course, this means my Augur is not guaranteed, and every time my Augur is not guaranteed, then it usually whiffs. But what are you going to do? I think this is the better play. They choose not to mill again. Quite interesting. And, I mean, they have 3 Scrapwork Mutts and an Acorn Harvest. So, you know, they got stuff. Let's see what they want to do with their stuff. They are going to cast a Scrapwork Mutt. Okay. I mean, that doesn't have haste. I don't actually think I need to counter it, so I think it's fine. Of course, if they have the Stinkweed as their last card, that's pretty good. It's a Satyr Wayfinder. Okay, that's fine by me. They do get their 1/1. They draw a new card. So they have 5 creatures now. Maybe I should have countered it just because it's another creature that they have. Which is kind of a lot. But I also kind of need to save these for other things. Looks like they're going to Acorn Harvest. That's 2 more 1/1s. I mean, I should counter that, because at some point I'm not going to be able to deal with all the 1/1s. But also now I'm not too afraid that they'll be able to do anything else with their mana, so that I will get rid of. They want to swing with the Genersent, I'll trade with the Thorn. I think they're probably going to wait and try to just go all out next turn. Cool. We have an Augur. And an Island. Okay, that's fine. See if this Augur fails me. Gotta Snuff Out. Well, I can't alternative cast that, but it's not terrible. And we will pass to our end step, see if we draw anything else relevant. Maybe a Spellstutter. Another counterspell is pretty good. Okay, we're not dead yet. Even if they double unearth Scrapwork Mutts, I block those and I'm taking 1/1s through, like taken through. So I'm not taking a full 4 damage yet. They're deciding whether they want to mill with this Crawling Infestation. I think the answer is always yes. Almost always yes. They do. They hit a Mountain and an Exhume. Okay. You know, in that instance, maybe it was a no. But obviously you have no way to know. When you have no way to know that you do it. Mesmeric Fiend is obviously a counterspell. We can't even snuff it out, so annoying that we have to use it on that, but it's another creature. I guess they get the 1/1 either way, but this way at least they don't know what's going on in our hand. And, you know, we have our counterspell. They are going to unearth one of their Scrapwork Mutts. Discard a Lotleth Giant. and draw a Conduit Pylons, which they're going to surveil. Surveil a Stinkweed Imp into their grave. Okay, that's pretty good. They have enough creatures to take the Monarch, which is also pretty good. But if they attack with everything, we get to eat a lot of their creatures, which is good, right? We get to... I mean, none of our guys are 1 toughness, so if they attack with everything, they'll get the Monarch. We also get to trade the Generous Scent for the Thorn and then kill all 5 of these. And we only take 2. Which I think is a good trade for us. So I'm kind of okay with it. We could also only take 1 and just leave them with an extra 1/1. But I think... because we could either block this and we'll take 1 down to 3, or we could block this and we'll take 2 down to 2, which means that the other Scrapwork Mutts they have will be more lethal, or rather will be lethal. But if I just leave back enough blockers, I don't think that's a big deal, and I think I'd rather just kill more of their creatures. So let's block like that. So there we go. They get the Monarch. And end of turn, they lose their Mutt, but they draw a card. I hope that card was worth it. I get to now attack. Let's see. Oh, they milled a Gnaw to the Bone, which can obviously gain them 1,000,000 life. We would love to draw... Let's see, we already got rid of one of our relics. Yeah, so we need to draw a relic or our Bojuka Bog. Be obviously amazing. And cast down... That's not terrible. We get to cast this down, which actually allows us to attack with our Ninja. So we get in for an extra card. We hit them for 7 because we leave back our Augurs, I think, because they have 2 Scrapworks. Well, they have 3 Scrapworks, but they can only unearth 2 at a time. So we want blockers for both of those. So yeah, I think we cast down this insect. Because at this point, any reanimating a Lotleth Giant or whatever is going to be lethal, so there's no reason that we need a removal spell for it. So we want to hit hard and fast, but obviously we don't want to die on the Crackback to Scrapworks. So we're going to attack for 7 here, deal a good chunk of damage, try to draw something. We do have a counterspell already in hand, so we're not like dead, and obviously we get our Monarch back. But the Gnaw to the Bone is going to make things tough if I don't counterspell that, but I'm not sure I'll be able to. Augur Boss is not bad. We do have a Dispel in the deck, even though we didn't want to, but if we draw that, that'll counter a Gnaw to the Bone. God, Cast Down or Lorien Revealed. Oof. I don't think a Cast Down really does anything. I mean, they're probably going to get another insect here, so it could be... I guess we're at 10 damage on board, so if next turn they just happen to have like 2 creatures and haven't killed us, we could Cast Down and Snuff Out. Yeah, I guess that's a little better than the Lorien, probably, because Lorien's just like, hopefully we draw something, you know? Whereas this is a little bit more tangible of a game plan. And we have our Monarch, which also draws us something. Again, a Dispel wouldn't be bad. Fairies here, well, can't win them all. All right. Well, they're going to mill 2 more, get their 1/1, and they Gnaw to the Bone's gaining them 38 life now. So if they Gnaw to the Bone right here, I don't think we can afford to counterspell, because if they just have an Exhume, they can win. But then again, how many Exhumes have they gone through? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, they can't draw an Exhume, or can't have an Exhume. That's good to know. Of course, they could have a Dread Return, but if they Gnaw to the Bone, they would need a Dread Return and a land. So, how many Dread Returns do they have? Well, I don't think there's any in the grave right now, otherwise that would change things. And they've used 1, so they could absolutely have a Dread Return in hand. But a single Dread Return doesn't do it, because if they try to go for it, I'll counterspell. Then they would need to get 2 more creatures. I don't think they have a way to do that for 2 mana. I guess 1 mana, because they would have to currently turn a Conduit Pylands into a black with an extra mana, so I'm not seeing a way for them to win here through our counterspell. Obviously, they don't know we have that necessarily. But, I mean, if they gnaw to the bone, they could certainly survive. They have the Dread Return in hand. Okay, so they're just going for it. Lawless Giant. I mean, obviously we're counterspelling, because otherwise we lose. And they don't have anything here. We can cast down the insect or snuff it out, and then we can attack for 10. Right? And they know we have both the cast down and the snuff out. Both were revealed with augurs. Hey, and we got there. That was nice. We didn't see... We saw a relic early, which was obviously a little helpful, but it didn't do as much work as we would have liked for one in the mid-game. But we were able to just get them with some stuff. I like the attempt at using Crawling Infestation in the deck. I don't know if it's worth it, but I like the innovation. But if you're going to innovate with a card like this, try to use it to its best ability. I think there's probably not really a time you don't want to be saying yes to that. Maybe early with the relic that we had on the board. I think it's okay for them to say no to that a couple of times, but when we didn't have it on board, I think you want to fill up your graveyard just about as fast as possible. But what do I know? I am no Dredge player. Welcome to round 5 here. We got a whole lot of blue, which makes us blue. And this one's just 1 land. I would keep it probably if we had an island, so we could play the Preordain, but without that, it's not keepable. And this one's just as bad. In fact, worse. So it's a tap land. I do not think there's any reasonable world where I can keep this hand. So I will go to 4. Here is a keepable one, finally. Let's start crying. Murmuring Mystic is obviously not going to be great. We're with a 4-card hand, what are you trying to do? You're trying to survive. All you want to do is survive until the game is, a little bit further. Is a bit rough. Our opponent says, oof. So you just want to survive. So you want cards in the early game. 2 lands, I think, is all we're going to be able to manage. So I think we'll just get rid of this Lorien. And we want as much value as possible. Seeing as we have very few cards, we want the ones that we have to be powerful. So I'm going to keep the Spellstutter over the Counterspell, I think, because it's higher ceiling. We get a 1/1 and a Counterspell, as opposed to just the Counterspell. So if we're against like mono red and they are stuck on 1 land or something like we've previously been, maybe Spellstutter's pretty good. And then cast down just in case something gets on the board before we can get there. I want to play as Ancient Den passes to us. Dismal Backwater. Another land's not bad. Ancient Den, what does that mean? Could be Boros Synth or Glintblade. Neither of those decks are particularly popular at the moment, but they always can be real. Virus Beetle is going to tell me that it is in fact Glintblade, or some variation thereof. This isn't a very common one, especially with Refurbished Familiar becoming much more powerful of a card. Or rather, being a card that is much more powerful. Yet, I can't help but feel the sting of the Virus Beetle on our Multi 4. We are going to discard this Contaminated Aquifer that we drew, I guess. Good news here, if there's any, is next turn, if they cast like a Glint Hawk, we can Spellstutter it, potentially. Or if they go for a Skyfisher, maybe we just cast down the Virus Beetle. But either way, not feeling too good for us right now. They're going to swing with the Virus Beetle. I'm just going to take it. I'm not expecting a Ninja unless it's an Okiba Gang Shinobi, which they could absolutely have, but usually that would be... but that is 4 mana. So we'll see. Refurbished Familiar. Well, that is not a 1-drop, unfortunately. It is a 4-drop. So we're going to have to let that go. Discard our Swamp yet again. No lands for us. And now Glinthawk? No. Okay, well, I'm going to cast this down then. And Lorien revealed. Well, obviously we're going to cycle that. And I'm going to get an island so that I can obviously hold up our Spellstutter. And if they cast a Refurbished Familiar, I'll probably cast this Spellstutter. It still means they get to draw a card, but I'll at least have a blocker. If they cast a Virus Beetle, they won't even draw a card, and I will absolutely cast the Spellstutter because I will not lose a card that way. Glinthawk would be the best spell for them to cast here, assuming they don't then have a cast down to follow it up. No Okiba Gang Shinobi is also good for us. Looks like it might just be like discard Fiasco. Fiasco? Discard Frenzy. It's pretty bad, seeing as you don't really want to mold a 4 in any game. But I think if I had to pick one match where it would be worst, is the one where our opponent is ripping our hand apart anyway. So we pretty much already did half the work for them. So I think we're dead, if I'm honest. But we'll see what happens. Tithing Blade. Yep, definitely going to eat our guy. A Brainstorm. Not a bad draw, but let's see if we get anything good off of it. We get a Thorn of the Black Rose. We're going to concede that one. I can't play a Thorn even if I had the mana for it this turn. They have a flyer, and I'm brain locking myself, so I'm drawing those for the next couple turns. So pretty bad. We do get a Suffocating Fumes and Arms of Hadars. I'm assuming they're running Glinthawks and Skyfishers, because if I were playing those cards that they were just playing, I would be. So these all look good in those cases. We're going to put in a Nulls because they're good against Refurbished and the Beetle. Maybe even Relics because they usually run an Omen of the Dead, which can loop with the one guy, Core Skyfisher. I think these are the cards I'm looking to bring in. Maybe Dispel too. They could absolutely have Cast Down, Deadly Dispute, Thraben Charm. It's not a for sure, and we already have one in the main deck, so I'm not dying to get it in. Extract doesn't seem too good. Agony Warp's okay. They have so many flyers, even more than we do, that I don't think Thorn is really good at all here. Even though it is going to be a grindy matchup, I just don't think we can chance them being able to take the Monarch from us. Some of their relevant creatures are black, so I think taking out a couple, if not most, or all of our Snuff Outs is good. Yeah, maybe we'll just take them all out here in favor of these guys, and maybe that Dispel after all. I think this could be okay. I think we can do fine here. We just need to obviously not mull the 4. So let's try to do that. This hand's not great, but you know what's gonna make you keep a hand like this is the trauma of mulliganing to 4. This hand looks solidly keepable. Our opponent deciding to mimic us. They liked it so much they're going for the 4 as well, seeing if they can rub it in our face, do a little bit better than we did. The good news for them is we are not making them discard any cards this match. And they are not kind enough to do the same for us. Good news here is, I think we're going to go with the Preordained first. We don't need the black that badly, and I'd prefer to find something quicker. So if we get like a Spellstutter, can take their first drop, maybe. Our first drop. Thanks. Counterspell Ninja. Ninja's awkward because we don't have a creature. But also, it'll be good when we do get a creature. But I want to counterspell because they have very few cards. But if we keep the Ninja, it's harder for us to find our creature. I think we're going to keep it. They mulligan so low that maybe we just play a Ninja on turn 4 and we can get there. Then again, with their Tithing Blades, that feels like it'll probably be bad. But in any case, Goldmire Bridge for them. We're going to play an island and pass, counter probably anything they cast here. Just try to keep them off. Affinity count. Of course, can't do that much against their lands, but if they play like a Refurbished Familiar here, Divest, well, that makes it really awkward that we kept this Ninja, because if we didn't, we could just show them our hand. Do we want to just counterspell this? Man, I wish we had a Spellstutter too. That'd be good. Counterspell this. Yeah, I think that's fine. Let's do that, and then 2 turns we can get a Ninja down. I think it'll be okay. Another island. Yeah, I mean, we're definitely having the game that they want us to have, given that they mulled the 4, which is we're doing nothing. We didn't have a Fairy Seer early. We didn't have a Spellstutter on 2. We didn't have an Augur on 2. And now we have a Ninja, but it's going to be so late that it's not probably going to matter. They have a Glinthawk, and we don't have a Spellstutter for it. Of course, they just have to pick up an Ancient Den, so that's not tons of value, but they do get their guy off of it, of course. They do get a 2/2 flyer. Or they're picking up their Goldmire Bridge, which seems worse. But I guess if they don't need the mana, that's fine. No, they just floated the black. Hopeless Nightmare. And then they have an Ancient Den. 2 cards left in hand. I guess we'll just annul this. Might as well. We're going to lose a card anyway. And this way they can't pick it up. And an Augur. Okay. Yeah, we're going to play an Augur. Obviously better than a Ninja. Because we don't care as much if it dies. Counterspell's perfect. Exactly what I wanted. Because this way, we can keep it alive through a Tithing Blade. And the next turn, on our turn, we can Agony Warp the Glinthawk, attack with the Augur, and Ninja it back. And then we got our value going, and we're in a pretty good spot. So if they try to Tithing Blade us here, even if they just like Skyfisher or something, we'll probably Counterspell. Just so that we can get through, at the very least, even if it's not a ton of value. Thraben Charm. Exile our graveyard? I don't... The only reason our graveyard matters is Gurmag, but they might think we're on Terror, I guess. But that's fine by us. Origin of Basilica. Okay, so they got some lands. Only one unknown card, though. And we're just going to kill this Glinthawk. It's nice that we didn't have to counterspell here, because now we get to Ninja and then hold up counterspell if we want. Or, even better, we can Ninja and then play Augur. And now we can Brainstorm, so we can kind of do all of that. Make sure the Augur hits. Or we can be an absolute idiot while we're bragging about how well our turn is going and pass through our ninjutsu window. It's going to be fine. We're going to brainstorm into... Look at this. If it wasn't going to be fine, we wouldn't have drawn all this. So let's put back Lorien Ninja, play an island, and pass. Look, I'm a fool. I admit it. But also, we're crushing. We have Spellstutter, we have Counterspell, and we're it's fine. This turn, let's put a little stop. Oh wait, we have one on our block phase. Let's Ninja that bad boy. Nice. Let's draw a card. Draw that Lorien. Cycle that Lorien. Land, play that, and we'll pass. Hold up our counterspells. And I think we're going to be okay. They're hitting their land drops, which is, you know, fine for them. They're going to try to Tithing Blade us, maybe? No, 3 mana. 0 mana. In fact. Scroll Shift. Exile up to one target artifact, creature, or enchantment you control, then return to the battlefield. 3 mana cycle. I guess 2 mana, because they get to flip this card back. Scroll Shift's the type of card I like a lot. It's very innovative. You know, it's your blue ghostly flicker type effect. Draws you a card, though, but it can also hit enchantments, which is really nice for this type of a deck. But it's just too expensive. 3 mana is so much for this effect. They have another one here. I mean, I don't even care to counter these. Like, it's 2 mana cycle, so it's really not that bad. But also, if I had any way to get rid of this artifact in response, or anything like that, it would just be pretty bad. But it's okay. I understand they're desperate. They have to cycle them right now. Totally fine. But I like the card. I just wish it could be better. Draw a card here. Get another Spellstutter, Dismal Backwater. I think we're going to just Augur here, hold up 2 counterspells as opposed to Murmuring Mystic, hold up 1. We get a Brainstorm off of it too. And then next turn, maybe we Murmuring Mystic, and we can hold up both Brainstorm and Counterspell, so at worst case, we get 2 birds off of it. And this turn, we will Spellstutter anything we see. 1 drops, that is, to start. And if it's like start with a 2-drop, maybe I just let it go. Thraben Charm, exile any number of target players' graveyards. They really think our graveyard matters, and that's cool. But it does not. And then a Refurbished Familiar. We will just counter that. I think that's a-okay. And they're going to concede there. Good news is they still think our graveyard is relevant. So they're going to keep using Thraben Charms on that. Obviously, they mulled to 4. That's what happens. We also made a mistake there, but they were behind enough. It doesn't really matter. Let's see if this final game will be a mull to 4 for both of us, maybe. I mean, it'll at least be even then, right? That would be far more exciting of a finale. All right. This hand is not very good. Our opponent's on 7, though. We're at 1 land. Brainstorm be locked. Do we chance it? I mean, we still have plays, Annul and Relic, which helps a lot. If we find a land, we also have Augur, which is really good. I think this is one we're gonna take the chance. We're also on the draw. It's not perfect. I'd be much more comfortable with a second land. They're gonna start with a Vault of Whispers and a Duress. Well, bleep. If they take our Brainstorm, that's pretty bad. So they have Divest and Duress. That seems a little overkill, if I'm being honest. I wouldn't have hated to Divest there. They took the Annul. I kind of am okay with that, but of course, Annul would be good too, right? Against the Refurbished or whatever. But Brainstorm is what's gonna hopefully get us through this time. Counterspell. We're going to Brainstorm on our next turn so that we dig as deep as possible, even though it's going to make it so that we can't Augur. Unless I want to get greedy, and I can Brainstorm now, / their end step, Augur, but then if we don't find it, we lose the game. I think we're going to not be greedy. We're going to Relic. And then next turn, we're going to Brainstorm, dig for that land. If we find it, we can play it. We can even then pop the Relic to get through another one of those cards, which you might just need to out of desperation. Yeah, I don't know. They have a Virus Beetle here. Annoying. I think we're getting rid of an Augur. And see what we draw. Arms of Hadar. Well, let's go brainstorming. All right, we found the island. Let's put back Cast Down Relic. Play Island. Pass. I mean, this is pretty bad still. Like, next turn we get to Augur for our Cast Down, but then we still don't hit our land drop. Even if we crack the Relic, we're not hitting our land drop. Hopeless Nightmare. Yeah, wish we had a Spellstutter up. Yeah, this is just all kinds of bad. Arms of Hadar is not doing us any good here, though. And another Hopeless Nightmare. I mean, if all they have is like Hopeless Nightmares, those don't attack us, so it's not the end of the world. I think maybe we're getting rid of Counterspell here, because Augur blocks and finds us something. Spellstutter blocks and counters something. Of course, if they have like a Glinthawk here as well, it's brutal. They don't. Okay, so if I crack Relic, kind of a waste of this Augur potentially. I think it's fine. I would love to hold up Spellstutter, but I think we're gonna Augur. Make sure we get at least a Cast Down. Yep, if not something else. It blocks, which is good, and yeah, hope they don't play like Refurbished here. Hope they don't play any creatures, honestly. If we don't see a creature, I'm happy. 3-mana Scroll Shift? I can live with a Scroll Shift. Rowan's Grim Surge. Okay, that's not amazing. It's not terrible. Actually, it's fine. They get a little 2-for-1 plus their Scry, but they also are not doing much. I mean, they could find a land and a Refurbished, and that would be annoying, but I'm not too upset about that. So they've been a Duress and another Grim Search. They play a Swamp, and they play a Hopeless Nightmare. Okay. I mean, we're going to get rid of this other relic, I think. Obviously, we can't cast down at the moment, but it will be helpful at some point, probably. And relic, we don't really need 2. We hardly even need 1 at the moment. They were the last cards we cited in. I'm not even fully sure that they're amazing here, but whatever. Okay, we're going to pass. We have a Spellstutter for any 1-drops that they have, finally, on turn 4 here. After they've played 3 Hopeless Nightmares, a Duress. I think that's it, but dang, that's still a lot. And obviously any Refurbished Familiars are going to get through the Spellstutter. So, Glint Hawk. Okay, we're going to hope they don't have a cast down. Oh, that felt good. All right. That was a big bump in card advantage that we needed. Like, Glint Hawk and Virus Beetling us, again, was going to be brutal. Glint Hawk can block / get through our Spellstutter. Virus Beetle taking another card is bad. That was good. And now we're at 2 and 2 cards in hand. And we draw a Ninja? Okay, question is, do we want to get back the Augur for max value? I think we want to leave it. I'm still not convinced that they don't have any ninjas, because often they will. Like this type will, maybe even in the sideboard. And I kind of like getting back the Spellstutter anyway. But we're definitely going for the full greed play and getting the ninja down. Trying to draw that card. They're sacking a Nightmare, that's fine. Not going to stop us from drawing. But they do get to scry 2. Top and bottom. Let's draw. Land and a black source, exactly what we wanted. All right. Things are looking up. They did scry 1 to the top, which means they got something they wanted for this situation. My guess would be a Skyfisher, Glint Hawk, or Refurbished, probably. One of the flying creatures. Maybe just their 4th Hopeless Nightmare. That's fine. I think we're going to let them take the cast down. Because if they get something that's worth casting down, I can Arms of Hadar and get them both. But then again, I need another mana for that. And actually, if they get a core Skyfisher, I'm kind of bricked. So actually, maybe I just leave the Arms, knowing that they don't have that many creatures at the moment. That's a tough call. But there's the Skyfisher. I think, made the right choice. Of course, if they pick up a Nightmare here, oh my gosh, they made me discard a million cards. I can't Spellstutter that. I think we discard the Spellstutter. Because we can cast this down, and we can attack with the Ninja and draw another card, and that's our way to stay in business. Financially. And then we can leave up Hopeless Nightmare. Or not Hopeless Nightmare. Now they have me saying it. I can leave up Relic of Progenitus Pop in case they happen to get like their Omen of the Dead, which I'm just expecting that they have. I don't know for sure. I don't leave up Counterspell this way, but we need to keep drawing cards with as many discards as they have. So let's do that. Or if we get a chump here, that's fine too. It makes their Glint Hawks bad. Okay. Like a Glinthawk just picks up a land now, so I can live with that. Of course, a Skyfisher can still just pick up a Hopeless Nightmare, but at least the Glinthawks are worse off. Tithing Blade, I can live with that. That's going to eat an Augur. They tapped a white for it, so I know that they can't Scroll Shift or Glinthawk or anything that. I think now's a good time to Relic, because I don't want them to flip a Tithing Blade. So it is actually relevant to get rid of these creatures. They don't have enough to really refill it. I have the extra mana, and I would love an extra card. Another Ninja's not amazing here. Counterspell's fine. I would love a Fairy Seer. That's a 1-drop that I can play. It's another creature in case they play a Tithing Blade that like I wouldn't have to counterspell it, although obviously I still might. Island's not bad either. Question is, do I get really greedy and play another Ninja? I don't think they have another Tithing Blade or a Cast Down or anything like that. If they have like a Arms of Hadar, they could really get me. I think I'm gonna... Oh, God. I'm gonna risk it. I think this is the turn. If these survive, I'm like rolling in it. Unless they get like a Skyfisher. But if they don't survive, then I'm not rolling in it. And there's the Skyfisher. Of course. Pick up the Tithing, kill a Ninja. They always have it, huh? I mean, it wasn't the end of the world, but it would have been better to have a counterspell. And that's a Lorien. All right. I'm going to leave that, because if I draw another land, I might want to actually hard cast it. Or rather, if I draw another land or two, probably. But for now, we're going to hold up counterspells. You got a land. You could flip their Tithing Blade with the Skyfisher. 4 mana. They're going to Mourn Welk. Hey, I am a Mourn Welk lover over here. But I'm going to have to counterspell that. They are doing a teeny tiny amount of what's that called? What is that called? Scam. This guy plus their Scroll Shift. Of course, that's 7 mana. Kind of an outrageous amount of mana to have to do that. Spellstutter's pretty good though. Although they are going to flip this Tithing Blade now with the Mournwelk. That's pretty annoying. But what are you going to do? I just need to draw a removal spell for this Skyfisher. Or something. Glinthawk would be a great play from them, because we just get to Spellstutter it. I'd love to see a Murmuring Mystic out of my own deck, perchance. Scroll Shift the Tithing Blade. We're going to counter that one for sure. Rather not lose this and let them draw. I think we'll keep the Lorien maybe another turn. There's a swamp, so yeah. I know it's shields down, but we got to do something. We're going to Lorien, and this is definitely a way to get back in this game. And currently we are behind, just a little bit. Well, before the Lorien. Now I think we are crazy far ahead. And hey, maybe they get a Thraben Charm, they get to blow up our graveyard, and we don't get a Gurmag Angler down. If not, we're going to, next turn, Brainstorm into a Gurmag, and then hold up a Spellstutter, I think. Looks like they're flipping the Tithing. Let's see if they want to go aggressive. I don't think so, but I think this Gurmag's going to be pretty helpful. Oh, they are going to get aggressive. Okay, I respect that. I think that is one of their better ways to win, but of course we get to attack them and draw cards. Let's start with a Brainstorm. 2 islands and a Lorien. Let's put back island and Brainstorm. Play an island. Attack with the Ninja. Draw a card. Brainstorm. Storm again, and then I can Gurmag for 1. Fairy Seer and hold up a Spellstutter. That seems pretty good. Put back 2 islands. Fairy Seer. Both islands to the bottom. Gurmag. Away our entire grave. And now I have Spellstutter or Cast Down. And Spellstutter's on 2 now, which is a lot better. It can hit a Skyfisher, it can hit a Tithing Blade, it can hit a Virus Beetle. And we have Cast Down to just take out the Skyfisher, and then we have a lot of damage here. So in their upkeep, they're doing something, or maybe they just don't realize it's their upkeep. No, they are gonna, what is that, Scroll Shift? In the upkeep? That wouldn't make a lot of sense. Sack the Hopeless Nightmare. That makes more sense. All right. I like that. That means their mana is very pinched. Probably can only cast 1 spell. So our Spellstutter should be a little more effective. Unless they get 2 1-drops, which is also fine, I suppose. If they attack with the Skyfisher here, I probably just jump with the Fairy Seer. Scry 2 to the top. That's interesting. So you get to draw just 1 of them. And they're going to play a Skyfisher, and I would love to Spellstutter that. Okay, I think that's pretty good for us. We get to Spellstutter this, cast this one down, and then crack in for 9. If they attack now, I'll just take it, because I'm not worried about dying. Well, I could be worried about dying, actually, but they did not. Agony Warp's not bad. I think that's going to kill just about anything in their deck anyway, so we'll just do the cast down here. And then we get to attack for 9, draw a card, and they have to find some way to deal 6 damage, and I'm not sure they're going to be able to do that. I like the innovations they got in this deck, though. I have thought that there's some more room in Glintblade to do some fun stuff. Let's draw a card off this Ninja. Draw a Lorien Revealed, and we'll cycle that. We can afford it. Cycle the 1, play the second one next turn. Pass back to them, see if they can do anything to stop us. I guess if they find a removal spell for the Gurmag, then they don't die here. Which could be good, but obviously a Tithing Blade isn't going to do it because we'll just sack the fairies in first. They have a Divest, that's not going to hit anything in our deck. Or our hand, rather. Would hit some cards in our deck for sure. And see, they have that Tithing Blade. So we're going to sack a Fairy Seer, not a Gurmag Angler to it, and they're going to concede. All right, for my first league in the new year, and also my first league with this deck in quite a while, I'm pretty happy with it. A nice 4-1, the 1 being against Mono Red, a deck that we also did beat, but in that match that we lost, there was that one counterspell, or rather Spellstutter sprite on a Chain Lightning that I probably should have taken, certainly should have taken, and I'm not saying that definitively would have won us that match, but it could have helped us a little bit. We did die by 2 damage, so it's possible that that 3 damage would have let us win that game. In any case, I was pretty happy with it. Maybe it's just that we didn't go against any Writhing Chrysalis decks, totally possible, but the deck felt really good still. It's a solid control deck with good removal, good cantrips, good counterspells, lots of 2-for-1s, and just a solid late game plan of Murmuring Mystic, Gurmag Angler, or Thorn of the Blackrose. It's hard to be upset about casting a Spellstutter and getting to eat a 1 or a 2-drop, as well as having a 1/1 that we then get to buy back with a Ninja. The deck is just really, really fun. This was always one of my favorite decks, and then I just felt like it was very difficult to pilot, and I decided that that would not stop me, because most of the decks I prefer are mid-range or control, difficult to pilot decision decks. So, in general, I had a very good time with it. I did realize that these Dismal Backwaters probably should continue being Contaminated Aquifers. Again, there are some decks that don't have snuff outs, and so no reason other than cyclers to use the cycler lands. And so in those, I think having a couple cyclers and a couple of whatever other land is beneficial for your deck is probably better. In this one, I realized a little late that the snuff outs were a good reason to keep them in. Sideboard seemed fine. I actually added an extra Hydroblast beforehand, and then I went up against 2 red decks, and so I was pretty happy to have that Hydroblast. Is it possible we should have something else? I don't know, but in this matchup, it's in this league, it seemed totally fine. We didn't have the only thing we didn't really have a lot of cards to bring in against was the Glintblade deck, which I don't see too often. But we did have the Relics of Progenitus, which were okay. At the very least, they were getting rid of the cards for the Tithing Blade, and it's possible they have an Omen of the Dead in there. But also Arms of Hadar is good in that matchup. They just didn't actually end up having enough creatures for it to really matter in that last game. And then Extract a Confession, we didn't really need too much, but if we win against Bogles or anything like that, it would be pretty good. Honestly, even just against Dredge, it was not bad. We didn't end up using it, but it would have been okay because if they exhume a guy pretty early, it's just another cast down effect that can get that creature. And if they happen to have like a Rebel Belt Maverick as well, we can eat that creature. Even though it's an Edict effect, we can still make sure that they lose the biggest creature that they have. So overall, the deck's solid. I don't really know what to say about it. It's been a staple, I think, for several years at this point. And I think it's still pretty good. It's 2025, and I think this deck is still, it gets the stamp of approval from old me. So thank you so much for watching. I'm going to continue trying to put out a new video every week in the new year, and I'm going to try to start doing a few more of these videos that may be a bit longer, but is me actively playing so that you can see my thought process and my inability to speak at certain times for inexplainable reasons. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.